Welcome back here. I'm meteorologist Jacob Dickey in the WCIA 3 Weather Center. We're just before the 6 o'clock newscast, but we're jumping on to cover a little bit of updates on digital. That's because we do have a new tornado warning for Fayette County. It's not including Effingham County, so we'll let CBS Evening News continue, but come 6 o'clock, we may end up covering this more in depth. Fayette County is not technically in our area, but we can jump in and cover extra places on digital, and that's why I'm jumping on here. And this is a view of that storm. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Leidy is down there. We'll hear from him coming up at 6, but he's zooming in. Earlier had a funnel cloud pretty close to the ground. That was as it was near the Chaumière area, south of Vandalia. Now that storm continues to work off to the east. That's his view now. Again, the rotation is there, and the storm itself looks impressive on radar. It's moving in the general direction of Effingham County. Sometimes with these storms, they do strengthen and opt to be a little more of a right turn, moving due east. If that happened, there's a chance that maybe this is a Marion County issue instead of an Effingham County issue, at least for the tornadic part. We'll wait and see. If it is an Effingham County issue, it's going to be for places like Mason, Eberly, south of Elliottstown, south of Dietrich, south of Watson, that southern part of the county there into northern Clay County. And so that's that tornado warning that is in effect here. We have a lot of folks checking in. And real quick, the newscast starts. Do we have a start time? Is it 58:50? Somebody, find out, confirm that for me, Seth, just so we're all working on bits and pieces. 58:50. Cool. That sounds good. And so we'll probably pause for a brief bit and then move on through. All right, so that is the storm itself. Again, it's now south and east of Vandalia. It's getting closer to Effingham County. No official tornado warning yet. If that comes, snap of a finger, we will be on TV. It also still has some time, or maybe it could weaken. That would be an ideal scenario for us here. But the other thing about this storm is it has had reports of golf ball size hail. So the hail threat has certainly materialized today, especially in those areas most impacted. And that's why we decided to just jump on here for a little bit and continue to assess things. Again, to give you an idea where Kevin is, Kevin's in the southwestern part of Effingham County, and I will throw on his icon here. One of the cool things is we can follow the storm tracker wherever it is. And so there's Kevin showing up there, far southwestern parts of Effingham County. He's going to be to the south and west of Watson, west of Mason, north of Farina, and watching. St. Peter sits over here, so he's to the northeast of that. The rotation part here is near Wilburton on the south edge of the storm, and that's what he's seeing. We'll keep an eye on his shot on the side there, but as that moves off to the east, and Kevin, I've got you in my ears if you need me to talk. I don't know if we'll toss to you before the newscast, but as that moves to the east, maybe it's more of a Fayette County panhandle issue, but if it does get issued for Effingham County, then we'll escalate that and add to TV coverage of things. I'm meteorologist Jacob Dickey in the WCIA 3 Weather Center. Meteorologist Seth Bonoff is nearby, and meteorologist Kevin Leidy is in the storm tracker. This is his live view right now, and if we can, Seth, I'd like to pop that full, so you can just pull the screen there, and look at that. That is an impressive supercell thunderstorm working its way towards the east and northeast. I think that the core of it's going to stay south of Effingham, not by much, but there could be another round of some large hail across southern parts of Effingham County, and so we'll keep an eye on that. And the lightning is impressive too. Kevin, if you can hear us, we'd love to pan up a little bit more maybe, or look at the lightning bolts that are in that updraft there. Very impressive, very organized storm. And this is in February, folks. This is the stuff we would look for more in May, but we have such optimal ingredients for severe weather that the tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings that we've dealt with through the day are continuing. Seth, I could watch this continue for quite a while because it is impressive to see here. I think you would agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the stuff that you kind of, in the spring, you're lucky if you get one that just kind of looks like this, and to have this in February, especially the electricity that you're starting to see out of it right now, it is something to behold. Obviously, we hope nothing happens with this one, but certainly something that us weather professionals, enthusiasts, something to definitely take in and admire here from a distance for sure.
Yeah, and maybe, Kevin, are you able to hear us by chance? Kevin, can you hear us here in the studio? We got your microphone on now. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're seeing and how things have regressed for the day? We got a few minutes here.
Yeah, oh boy, I'd say the lightning's really picked up in the past 5 minutes here as the storm's gotten a little bit closer. There are some kind of, very small lowerings that we continue to monitor. They looked a little bit better earlier when they was kind of further away. But, these things kind of evolve pretty quickly. And so We just kind of have to keep watching them. But the lightning here, I mean, it's really impressive right in front of me. And so we're watching this cell come right at us. The nice thing has actually been it's been moving fairly slow, very slow moving cell. So I've been able to sit here for a bit. You can see off in the distance, see that dark area there? Ooh, man, that's where you've probably got some hail, really heavy rainfall that's coming down. But we're obviously concerned about something dropping from this. My problem is going to start to be darkness here. And when we lose that darkness, it's a lot harder to obviously kind of pick out some of those key signatures in the clouds. So we're going to do our best here to track this as it comes into southwest Effingham County. Again, I'm in the extreme southwest corner right now, and that's where I'm located. And we're just kind of watching this thing move to the north and east. It's going to just kind of clip there close to Edgewood there and in Fayette County as well. But boy, it is an impressive view from the storm tracker here that we're able to give you as darkness falls upon us here tonight. We'll send it back to you for now as we continue to watch things here from the storm tracker.
All right, thanks for that report, Kevin, and we'll keep that up here. I think the plan maybe, and Jennifer Roscoe is in the studio, what we'll do is perhaps we will start with weather. So maybe if we can confirm with the producer that we'll do the news open, they toss to weather, and I think we'll probably run with this for a little bit just to update folks since we've got Kevin there. We've got great view, and this tornado warning is getting close to Effingham County. We'll see how long we go, but I think that's an appropriate measure for us here is this rotation getting close to the Edgewood area. And given the day we've had already, there have been a number of tornado reports out there, and so that's what we'll continue to see here. About a minute 40 away from our newscast, so here in a minute or two, you're going to hear me quiet down and get going, but I do want to area-wide look at things. Storms have struggled farther to the north and west. There is one cell by Beardstown. You can kind of see as I zoom back. That might carry more towards Peoria and Bloomington. We'll see if anything else can develop in between, but continues to be the focus here. And of interest, the campus of Indiana University confirmed tornado now heading towards Bloomington, Indiana. So that's definitely something that we'll be watching and keeping an eye on. That's the storm that brought us the severe weather in Effingham County. New tornado warning for Effingham County. If we can, production, when the show opens, we'll just start with weather and severe weather open since I've got an active tornado warning. And so it'll be severe weather off the top at 5:58:50. And then Seth, if you can get the
49 too.
Say again?
X49, you want us on there too?
Yes, but I'll need you to set up this first. I'll worry about that before I worry about X49. So new tornado warning now in for Effingham County. Stand by here. We're about 30 seconds away from jumping on television, and we'll have that new update for you here momentarily as we continue to watch this thunderstorm here. Looks like we're about 15 seconds out, so it'll be severe weather off the top. Tornado warning coverage now for Effingham County. Stand by here 20 seconds out. This is going to be south of Effingham, same areas that had tornado warning earlier of note, and I'll have more for you coming up here in just a few seconds from now. Stand by as we prepare for coverage on WCIA 3 News. I'm meteorologist Jacob Dickey in the WCIA 3 Weather Center. We will be starting the newscast at 6 straight away with tornado warning coverage yet again tonight. This is for Effingham County. We've been watching this storm here in the Vandalia area, Fayette County, working its way to the east. The National Weather Service has now added a new tornado warning that includes southern parts of Effingham County. That's going to be from the city of Effingham south. In fact, if you live in the airport in Effingham and north, you are okay at this point. This will be south of the airport, include Mason. It will include Watson. It will include US 45 from the airport in Effingham all the way south into northern Clay County just before you get to Louisville there. Here's that warning. The really cool thing is that Chief Meteorologist Kevin Leidy is out in that storm tracker, and we'll go to him in a second there as we continue to get things in line. We also have our sky cam with meteorologist Seth Bonoff. He'll be controlling that, taking a peek in Effingham here in a little bit. This is our one storm here. There's another storm farther south, not concerned. And then we still are not seeing a whole lot happening here further to the north and west. Some storm development trying to get going. but at this point, it has not succeeded so far in our area, and that is okay. The environment very ripe here for severe weather in our area. But when we're ready, just throw it up on the preview screen for coverage to Kevin there. Here's our triple box to show you the coverage we've got. Again, our camera in Effingham is there on, that looks like actually Charleston. That'll be Effingham in a second on the top right. The bottom right is Chief Meteorologist Kevin Leidy. He is in the storm tracker right now looking into that tornadic storm now south and west of Effingham. Let's go ahead and go to Kevin. Earlier, Kevin, we know you saw a funnel cloud as it was in the Chauvenir area south of Vandalia. That storm getting closer to you. Tell us more on what you're seeing.
It is getting a lot closer to me now, and the signature is looking a lot better on radar, especially if you look at the Evansville radar, guys. I'll just tell you that if you can look at that. There's a really distinct signature here. I am going to have to bail south here in a second because it's coming right towards me, to be honest with you. You're looking at it kind of right there where there could be a tornado right in there, and it's tucked in there, and now it's getting dark, so it's tough to see outside, but this is a serious situation developing into the southwest corner of Effingham County. Okay, I'm gonna have about another 30 seconds to give you the view here of this before I'm gonna have to start to bail a little bit more to the south. But we're looking right into that storm, and you can see all the electricity, a lot of lightning here. There's been an increase in the lightning in the past few minutes, and so that often is an indicator that the storm can continue to strengthen and is at a pretty good clip. It is moving fairly slow. But this thing right here is literally about to be on top of us, and so we're gonna adjust course here and dive a little bit south. But that's the best view that I can give you right now as darkness begins to fall. That is a rotating wall cloud right there in front of us, and so definitely take shelter there in the southwestern portions of Effingham County. For now, reporting in the storm tracker, I'm Chief Meteorologist Kevin Leidy. I'm going to send it back to you guys, and then come back to us here. I'm going to try to reposition to get another view, but you can see the structure of that storm coming right into the area. For now, back to you guys in the studio.
Hey, thanks so much, Kevin. We'll keep an eye on your storm tracker here. We've got the Effingham camera now in the top right of the screen, and here's his location. You can see here's Effingham County. This here is Fayette County. Farina is here. There's Edgewood, Mason, Altamont is up here. Effingham is right there. He's down here in the southwestern part of the county. Great view. St. Peter sits right here. What he's looking into is right here. So that hail core going to go over his location. That's why he's repositioning as you see him moving there right now. The lightning has been incredible with that. And as he's moving south, you may notice on the left side of his screen there, that's actually the updraft from an additional storm that's northeast of Kinmundy, south of Edgewood here. That's in northern Clay County. I don't think that's going to be anything tornadic at this point. We'll keep an eye on it, though. It is in the tornado warning, but we are focused on this storm right here near Logotee, moving towards the St. Peter area, eventually Laclede, Farina, Edgewood, Mason, southern parts of Effingham County. The other thing we should mention is there is the potential for some large hail with this storm here. Looks like the National Weather Service, as of last check, was warning for potentially golf ball size hail. This has been a day where we have seen these isolated storms really tap into some of that instability, use that wind shear to produce large hail. And that's the case with this one here. Again, that upgraded warning from the National Weather Service in St. Louis, dropping areas towards Vandalia, still St. James, Logotee, Long Grove, St. Peter, Farina, Laclede, Gilmore, Mason, Watson, all in that area, also including a part of northwestern Clay County as well. Zooming out in the county here, you can see Effingham, I-70. This is south of you. If you live south of the airport in Effingham, the regional airport there, you are in the warning. If you're to the north, you are clear. Most all of Effingham is clear at this point. I suspect that the sirens are going off, though, in a lot of Effingham County, and that is what we're dealing with here. If it's the case, it's because the storm's in the southern part of the county. Altamont, you're fine. You get up towards Lake Sarah, you're okay. Over towards Montrose, this does not include you. At this point, it doesn't include Dietrich or Teutopolis. May not Teutopolis. We'll keep an eye on Dietrich, Eberly, as this moves to the east towards Winterrede, places like that. This is certainly something to monitor with this strong storm moving in that direction. The tornado watch also continues in our area until 8 o'clock. And let's just bring up the full graphics here and show you those counties. Still tornado watch for Douglas, Moultrie, Coles, Edgar, Clark, Cumberland, Shelby, Effingham, Jasper, and Crawford counties. There is a severe thunderstorm warning now to the west of us, northwest of Beardstown. That's in Schuyler County. That's probably not a concern for us in the near term, but it gives you the idea if storms can fill in between there and Effingham, that would be places like Springfield and Taylorville. They could become severe fairly quickly. I do want to just mention as well, if you remember earlier today, about 3 o'clock, we started with coverage for tornado warnings in Effingham County. This is the storm right now moving through Bloomington, Indiana. Campus of the Indiana University, there's a confirmed tornado still with that storm as it moves off to the east. That started in Effingham. We saw development by Robinson, and that cluster continues moving on through. So that's the environment. That's why we have a 6 out of 10 on there. We might see if Seth can get us a little information on that. I know some folks have connections to Indiana University or have had connections in the past. And so we're just keeping an eye afar on that. Our main concern at this point is for Effingham County as we continue to see this warning there. I'm going to pull up the sky cam, and I believe I'm going to have the Effingham camera on here. And so we'll just take a peek and see. It is getting dark, so that's a struggle for us. In fact, it looks like darkness has distorted that. We're a little out of focus, so we'll fix that here in a little bit. But there's plenty of lightning with this. If there is a tornado, lightning may help to illuminate it. Also, what may help is having Chief Meteorologist Kevin Leidy there just peek at his storm tracker feed real fast. He continues to move and reposition. Here he takes a turn as he's readjusted, so we will check in with him here in just a minute. Back to the radar. This tornado warning does continue for southern Effingham County, and it goes, Seth, correct me if I'm wrong, is it until 6:30? Do you know by chance?
Let's take a look here real quick. This one looks like the one heading for Effingham says, 6:45.
6:45, where that Effingham County tornado warning is in place. And so that's what we've got. There also is a discussion from the National Weather Service about these storms. They say severe thunderstorms here will continue to be capable of tornado, wind, and hail as they move north and east. That's this cluster here. The northern storm has a tornado warning because of rotation showing up really good here now, very well, north of St. Peter, north of Farina, right here in the I guess the boot heel, I guess you call it, the finger, the eastern finger of Fayette County. I don't call it a peninsula, but that eastern finger there that goes out. That might be the way to describe it. Right along the county line, really, southwestern Effingham County. There's that rotation. Here's 185. That's the bypass there from Farina to go to Vandalia to avoid Effingham. 57 is here. It does look like there may be a slowdown with traffic near Mason or in just the Watson area, some sort of incident reported by IDOT. That might be related to weather earlier. There's a slowdown there. I think it's going to be south of there, but they're probably getting some big hail as well in that area here. Let's go back to radar, and then we're going to check in with Kevin in a moment here and see if he's ready for an update. Right now, our rotation showing up very well. This here is that hook echo that comes out, that little finger there. That's where our potential rotation is, and that's where Kevin has been giving us views of as he's been out on that storm. And I meant to also look to check and see if there's rotation in this side. I just want to keep an eye on that. But those two storms, there's not as much there. See how there's not as much green and red, really no green and some light red compared to this signature here. This green is going to be wind going green going towards, red going away. So there's your circulation. Perhaps it's starting to wrap up a little bit better as it approaches Farina and the Watson and Mason areas with this storm as it moves on through. All right, let's see if Kevin is available for another update. There's that storm tracker shot. Kevin, you're out there looking at things. Darkness not becoming your friend right now, but tell us what you got a view of.
Ugh. Yeah, tough to see things here. I am literally right beside where some of the rotation would be located here, and it might be have just passed me, but I had to dive south there because I was about to get into some pretty big hail. The hail was just starting, and so we had to dive south because that hail core is looking pretty good there, right just to the west of Edgewood right now. So I'm going to throw it back to you for right now, Jacob, because I want to try to head back north now and try to get back ahead of this thing, but. Still looking pretty good there. That rotation now is probably right on the county line, Effingham, Fayette County line right there in that little spot there as it comes into the corner, basically just to the west of Edgewood. That's where that is going to be. Again, it is dark. It's going to be difficult to see things, but I'm going to do my best to use the lightning to my advantage for now. I'll send it back to you. I'll have another report here in just a little bit.
And real quick, Kevin, are you looking to the west right there? Is that the direction you're looking at? Were you showing us west?
That was just to the west. So again,
Okay.
I think it's actually past me now, crossing the road that I was on there, basically right on the county line there, Fayette and Effingham County. So I'm trying to get back around here. Maybe I'll have a better view when I swing this back around. The problem is again, just to my north is where there's really intense rain and hail. But we're going to swing back here to the north and see what we can see.
All right, thanks, Kevin. Again, here's where he is. He's right next to that rotation. So if something happens, he's going to see it and let us know. He's also maneuvering because, remember, while the rotation is here, there's a lot of hail to the north. And so he's kind of working his way, maneuvering very skillfully through that, and we appreciate his live reports in the field. Also in the studio, meteorologist Seth Bonoff is here. Seth, talk more about these storms, where they're heading, and what you're seeing on radar.
Yeah, just one kind of interesting feature I'm starting to kind of think about here as this storm continues to move to the east. That one out ahead of it that you kind of pointed out that doesn't have a whole lot of rotation on it. We're going to see these storms. Maybe that western one kind of catches up to it at some point. We may have some sort of storm merger take place, and that can kind of complicate things and can even sometimes strengthen that storm farther to the west in this case. So we'll kind of watch and see if these two storms interact as they push on off there to the eastern part of Effingham County. Very similar to the exact spot we were following one of those first warnings of the day, kind of the same track here, and we'll just kind of take a deeper look into things. There's where that rotation is, just kind of right northwest of Laclede, heading right up there closer to Mason once again, eventually out there towards the Diedrich area, despite being just outside of that polygon here at the moment. Another slow moving storm, just a little bit faster than the ones earlier today. This one's moving at about 35 miles an hour. So we've kind of got the cone dragged out there from that spot of rotation off to the east, just to kind of time some things out here for a few folks. It is just past 6:10 right now. So you've got about 8 minutes there in Edgewood to kind of get to your safe place right now. That's when that storm is expected to be overhead. Mason right there around 6:23. Eventually getting out there to Eberly, closer to past the halfway point here of the hour, and eventually Diedrich down that line there at some point in time. But again, slow moving storms. That means the impacts kind of stick around for those places seeing the storm for a little longer, but it does give you some preparation time out ahead of it. So if you are in this cone or just beyond it, be making the steps right now to ensure your safety, get down to the lowest level of your house, and of course stay away from those windows. We'll continue to keep track of that one. Very slow moving storm, and hopefully enough lightning in there for us to continue to kind of make sense of what's going out in the inside of it, Jacob.
Yeah, so here's again some of those things to look for if you're in that tornado warning in southern Effingham County. And this is good to just know as well. Proceed to your safe place. A warning means action now. A watch means caution advised. Just keep an eye open here. And so head to your safe place. You've got time to leave a mobile home. Mobile homes are not places to be. They're affordable housing and they're great. But when it comes to severe weather, we often see that when affected by damaging winds and tornadoes, they can be hit pretty hard. No travel advised on I-57 south of Effingham towards Merriam. The 3 words I teach in school: in, down, up. Some students may be watching now at home and hear those 3 words in those school visits. Get inside, most interior room, down as low as you can. Cover up with blankets, pillows, grab a bike helmet as well. Protect your brain, right? That's important to do. So if you're watching your kid, those are the 3 things to do, and you can participate with that and stay safe there. And we'll give you that all clear. I'm about ready to give most of the Fayette County area an all clear, but we'll continue to have that coverage here online. You can take your phone, your digital platforms, your apps, and things of that sort with you as we move along here. Again, just a real quick showing the graphics for the safe place to be here. The worst place: cars, mobile homes, and do not stop under a highway overpass. You'll want to head to, instead, the bottom of the list there, the best place: tornado shelter or a safe room or a basement. Great places also, though, are interior rooms at the center part of your home, a bathroom with no windows, getting in the tub, another great place. Those pipes can help anchor you down. We want to avoid large open rooms, manufactured housing, mobile homes, cars, things of that sort, while things are continuing to progress on through. Back to the radar here real quick, and continuing to watch. Check this out. Down in western Illinois, Schuyler County, Schuyler County. I've been saying that wrong since I was a kid. Schuyler County, Illinois, new tornado warning. Now, this is north of Cass County in the Rushville area. It's going to be just north of Beardstown. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Again, we said the environment is favorable, and this is the product of that forecast here. Storms seem to be tapping in and taking advantage of that wind shear. Let's hope no new storms form in between here, because that could quickly become a problem for us as they move off to the north and to the east. But that does look like it stays out of our area for now. But my question is, notice a few of these little blips popping up here. Can any of those anchor in on that boundary and take advantage of things here? They did actually, Seth. Here's an interesting thing. They added a new severe thunderstorm warning for that second cell, and you were talking about it. I was reading some of the discussion. It is going to be very interesting when these storms do merge together. Sometimes those storm mergers can, one, enhance that rotation and cause things to spin a little faster. But also they can't have the opposite effect. We just have to watch closely and see how that is. I'll loop this the last 30 minutes and just show you what that's been. Maybe I need to slow that down a little bit. That is moving in a little hurry there, so I'll fix that real fast. And you'll see here, that one's had that little bit more of a northern component. This one been more of an east. Though to me, Seth, it stands out. That's moving a little more east now ahead of it. Potentially that might be strengthening rotation as well. And that's something that we'll have to watch is maybe we have back-to-back supercells moving in that direction. Again, the tornado warning, all of Fayette County except for the Farina area is clear. In Effingham County, if you live north of I-70, that's most of Lake Sarah, Altamont, places like that. Also, if you live in Effingham, north of the airport, you are clear from this storm. This is a Mason and a Watson issue. It's also in Elliottstown, a Winterrube issue. In Clay County, we're keeping an eye on Bible Grove. This is north of Louisville, eventually moving to the east back into Jasper and Crawford County. And we have had damage in those areas from storms earlier today. That's what we're dealing with right now. Again, some reports coming in. You can follow us on our digital platforms, Facebook, X, YouTube, also on the WCIA3 weather app and the news app. We've got a message about Edgewood. They are sounding the alarms there, and got some hail reports in the St. Peters area, and just a few others, some more hail reported in the Edgewood area from these storms that are moving on through. It seems like to me that maybe the hail is quarter to golf ball, but potentially strengthening, especially with this storm here. You can kind of see it has that kidney bean shape. When I start seeing that on radar, I start to think maybe a little bit more rotation. Good thing we have velocity product to kind of look into the storm. This is the intensity. Velocity looks at how things are moving. And lo and behold there, Seth, look at that. Rotation picking up at US 45 on the Clay-Effingham County line. So we're going to watch very closely. Eberly, areas south of Dietrich, that'll carry it towards the Newton Power Station and the city of Newton eventually. If it crosses into Jasper County, then we'll save that for digital coverage. But as long as we're in Effingham County, we're on TV for that, and we hope there's no other storms. But that's a new area of rotation that's picking up, and so we'll just check with Kevin's location. It's kind of
on reflectivity, that thing's starting to curl up pretty good too. Like that eastern storm is definitely starting to look a little better by each scan.
Yeah, so we may have back-to-back supercells with tornado potential here. And again, when we use radar, we're using the radar that's all the way down in Evansville to take a peek at that here. So that gives you an idea. Our radar beam, I should say, is scanning these storms 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 feet up in the air. Let me give you an exact number, in fact, just to peek at that. So it'll take me a minute here. But we're still quite a ways away. So we're looking about 5,000 feet up. There is some real estate between there and the ground, and that's where those tornadoes happen. Looks like to me the hail threat in that storm may be up to golf balls at this point as well. That storm leading edge, that's in the southeastern part of the county there. And so that's going to be coming towards really over Elliottstown right now, and moving along to the east there towards the St. John Lutheran Church. I think it's heading, let's see, there is a few other little places there. Maybe the Muddy Saloon. Eventually, the power station could be an issue. I think Winterrube and is also in the path of that. And this right on the county line is where that sticks out. And you can see both signatures there to me. Here's that storm in the back now. It has crossed 57, north and east of Farina, just south of Mason. But then there's this one that's now near Eberly, south of Elliottstown. I think that's going to carry it towards the Winterrube here, getting the map up. So there you can see here, it's going to be East 200th Avenue, the Hill community. It's east of 45. In fact, confirmed tornado. Let's go to Kevin and see if he spots that. Confirmed tornado now reported in Effingham County from the storm that's behind there. Kevin, that's just come from the National Weather Service. Can you tell us if you're seeing anything?
Okay, so I'm following back up here. I'm getting ready to turn to go towards Edgewood. I'm trying to see anything. I've noticed some a little bit of like leaves and things on the road a little bit more than others. I'm about 6 miles west of Edgewood, and I don't see anything here immediately, but I'm looking for power flashes because that's about all that I'm able to see. But I can tell you that right when I had to toss it back to you guys, as that cell was coming across the road there, I had to dive south as it definitely was strengthening at that point. And I would not be surprised because that thing was looking pretty good. I'm, again, 6 miles west of Edgewood. I've also noticed a lot of traffic kind of slowing down through this area. So I'm going to keep looking. Again, I'm just behind. I'm going to kind of come in from the backside here again, and I'll keep you guys up to date on anything that I see. But again, right now, the only thing I'm going to be able to use is my eyes of seeing, that green power flash. That was some lightning there off to the right, but I'll keep you guys up to date. I'll let you know anything else that I see here. But for now, I'm gonna now be turning back eastward. And so you're going to be looking more into the storm. And so this will give us a better idea as we kind of look into the storm if I can see anything. But again, since I'm on the back edge of this, then we're looking into that heavy rain and hail. So track that storm there. It's looking pretty good right along the county line. Looks like there, guys.
Yeah, thanks for that report, Kevin. Let's keep the triple box up, and Kevin can get our attention really fast. If we can as well in Storywall left, can I get Kevin's shot there and on Max 1 on Storywall right? That would be helpful for my eyes in here because we're dealing with now 2 tornado warnings. Both storms now tornado warned. We thought this storm out front near Eberly heading towards Winterrude could have a possible tornado developing. It now has a tornado warning for southeastern Effingham County into Jasper County. Once this storm comes through, a storm that has a confirmed tornado follows it. This will be back-to-back tornadic storms here, rolling over the exact same areas. So the course of action now, if you're here in southeastern Effingham County, you have to wait for both storms to clear on through. The good news is, I think this stays away from Dietrich. This will not be a Teutopolis problem. The city of Effingham is okay. I'm comfortable saying this is south of Watson. It's right on the line there. If you live south of Watson, I think you should shelter. Mason, Laclede, places like that certainly need to be taking action along the Effingham-Clay County line. The information from the National Weather Service is that the tornado was spotted by storm spotters near Laclede here, right on 57 between there and Mason. And that's where that rotation is now, crossing along the county line on Illinois 37 east of the Laclede area south of Mason. To give you an idea, here's where Kevin is, and I don't think his icon is updated for a little bit. We'll see if it updates in a minute, but he's heading east following this here, and he continues to maneuver around, so we'll see if we can get that shot updated with what's going on. But now that confirmed tornado warning, here's the rotation part of that. It's right over Edgewood. That's where it's at. Right over Edgewood is what I want to say. It's there. There certainly is some rotation. Remember, we are a little ways away from seeing that. This may also be the second tornado today in the Edgewood area. Around 3 o'clock, there may have been a tornado somewhere down in Edgewood and Mason, waiting on the National Weather Service to confirm that. Here's that second tornado warning. This here is in the Eberly area. It's going to be moving towards Winterrude next. It's south of Dietrich. It's south of Teutopolis, well south of Montrose. Anyone along and north of I-70 is okay from these storms. I don't have concerns for you at this time, but some fairly strong rotation showing up. Here's that circulation. It's going to be on North 1900th Street and East 200th Avenue. We're right along the county line, just north of it, heading towards Winterrude, and that next update will pick us up on there. I do want to look. I don't think it's going to show me anything, but I'd like to look at our debris tracker. We're analyzing this storm from Kevin in the field and us here. That data to me, there's not enough showing up that I feel confident with anything on the ground there. And in this one, I don't see anything either. It's a little muddy, a little messy. But this here, actually, that might be a hail spike showing up. I can't tell what radar we're on, but we know there's been some hail with that as these storms have continued to move on through the area. Southern Effingham County, 624. We're in wall-to-wall coverage because of Effingham County right now. Seth, you're going to talk a little bit more about that. We will reset, watch elsewhere. We're in that second wave of storms. It was a little delayed compared to what we thought here this morning, Seth, but this forecast panning out, I think, about as what we expected, maybe a couple hours late, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Jacob. And it kind of just complicated things with that first round kind of coming later in the day. It kind of, made us think, what does that change here about this evening round? And that's why we're still seeing a few of these cells pop up. Just one quick report I wanted to pass along. Brandon Morano just told me this. Shorty's Pub in Edgewood, they told us that they are sheltering in place. They haven't seen any damage yet, so we do have source there close to the scene that is going to be hunkering down here right now, but will let us know what happens through that direction. And I just want to kind of bring attention again to the fact that these two storms are back to back, maybe going to crash into each other here at some point in time. But like Jacob said, you need to shelter in place here for twice as long as what you normally would, because that front storm is going to pass through right over Eberly right now. And then that one to the west is going to be right over the exact same area. And that's going to make things just a little bit difficult here to navigate here with a little bit of time. Another thing, too, I went ahead and put some lightning here on the picture. There's just not a whole lot of lightning here in place, especially on that eastern storm. So things are just going to be very difficult to see, even though we have spotters out there like Kevin. It's just so hard to see what's happening right there in the core of the storm unless we get some help there from the lightning. So if you are anywhere down here in southeast Effingham County, western Jasper County, you're not going to be able to see anything out your window here. That's why we're telling you this right now. We have the technology to show it to you without the help of daylight. You need to be in your tornado safe spot, because these storms, like I said, back to back, it's just going to be kind of a little bit of time here to hunker down. But we'll be watching these continue to move to the east, and those centers of rotation still look pretty good. As mentioned, we're pretty far away from any sort of a local radar there, but that is what we're working with. And these storms still look pretty good, even though their cores are being looked at here thousands of feet in the air. So that's what I got right now. Kind of a weird situation down there in the southern part of the county. And that lightning certainly doing us no favors at all, because it's just so hard to see what's happening once we lose that daylight, Jacob.
Yeah, and Seth, as we watch these storms here, we're going to keep a close eye, because any additional development could have some of these same ingredients. I mean, there's that tornado warning up there in parts of Schuyler and Fulton counties to the north and west of our area. Do you have any thoughts on how things may progress? I know you've been watching guidance and analyzing things. Should we expect more storms here?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell, because guidance has been okay. It's been giving us some hints of what's going to happen today. What we're seeing right now, when we looked at the forecast 2 hours ago, it kind of had a chain of cells all across the area. We're not seeing that, but one thing we do know, there's enough instability out there in the area right now. We're seeing it down here in the southern part of the area. That's kind of maybe my thought, is that as we go farther to the north, we've kind of lost that instability. It's a little cooler up that way, not as moist. Lower chances up that way, but not impossible like we're seeing there just northwest of the area. So I still like the chances best down here in the southern part of the area, but pretty much everything is on the board here right now. Clearly, we've got enough ingredients to tap into, and these things are still pretty surface-based. So we'll continue to keep an eye out for it, but I still think the best ingredients are down here to the south. That's why we've got these more organized storms down closer to I-70.
Yeah, it's been rough today for I-70. So thanks for being here and with your coverage. This is your stomping grounds, right? I mean, you could probably name about every road that's down there, and your family may also be letting you know if they hear anything as well. So we've got also friends on social media that are talking it into giving us some reports, Seth, and I'll list a few of those real quick here. First off, power outages are starting to be reported in the Effingham area and Teutopolis. Some folks in Effingham saying, I have power, others saying they don't. We'll check in with Kevin in a little bit, see if he has seen anything or maybe seen lights off. We'll check in him here in a minute, but I do want to just do an area-wide view. Springfield, Decatur, Champaign, Danville. Right now, we are okay. There's not any storms that have really established themselves along I-72. One area I think is really close to the surface low here, off north of Beardstown. That probably carries it through Fulton and Mason counties, and maybe more towards Tazewell County than it does in our area. We hope that's the case. Then we have these storms down here. The tornado watch for counties in yellow continues until 8 o'clock. And we may be a little busy here for the next hour or so as things continue with these storms that are down. Now, back-to-back supercells, one with a confirmed tornado reported, another one with strong rotation here. Right now, the fleeting storm is past Eberly. We're moving towards Winterroot, but if you're in either Eberly or Winterroot, you've got a second tornadic storm that had a tornado reported near Laclede and Edgewood. That's now past Laclede, exiting the Edgewood area now, getting ready to cross 45 at Hill, the big curve there before the county line, and it will continue to work its way off to the east as we monitor things here. Really, I think as we move on through, this is going to be areas like St. John's Lutheran Church in Clay County, also the Bethesda Church, Camp Walter Scott, places like that might be some more local icons as this continues to move to the east. We're really within a hair of that county line with these storms, but there is some hail on the north side. If you're in Effingham, you're in Dietrich, you're in Montrose, or Altamont even, this storm is south of you. But I do see a little development trying to get going here in Fayette County, so we'll keep an eye on that. Again, the question is, can any more storms fill in this gap here? And if that's the case, we might have some more trouble. Maybe we don't. maybe if we do, it's not that big of a deal, but that's just something that we're going to watch here for a little bit. Looks like Kevin is moving through a town now, and I'm going to pop his location on. He's kind of following these storms. Looks like he's in Edgewood now. And Kevin, I got a message that folks at the Dollar General, they had sheltered there, and there are some other folks with some power outages in that area. Have you seen anything, Kevin?
Nothing yet. I'm just rolling into Edgewood here as we speak, coming right into town. Not noticing any immediate power outages here just yet. Again, just coming through. You can tell they got hit pretty hard with the rain, or puddles everywhere. But at first, just initial glance here as I come in, not seeing anything, but I'm going to keep kind of just driving through town here and see if I notice anything. But again, this is exactly where the tornado warning was, where the possible tornado was just about 15 minutes ago. And so now it is moving off here to the east of that. But this is exactly where some of that rotation was just not that long ago. So I'm just kind of looking through here to see if I'm noticing any outages, and so far nothing. Again, I'm here minutes after this happened, so looks like so far so good from what I can tell. But there was definitely some strong rotation right over Edgewood when this kind of came through right along the county line. I'd be curious if I went just a little bit more to the east, what I may find, because I saw that signature looked pretty good again just to the east of here. Nothing of significance that I'm noticing here as of right now, Jacob. So for now, I will send it back to you.
All right, thanks, Kevin. And we'll check back with you in a minute. Real quick, I can give an all clear for Edgewood. I can also give an all clear for anyone who lives from downtown Mason to the west. This storm now is crossing 45, and that's the first storm. The second storm heading into Jasper County. Here in the studio, we've got Brandon Morano and Jennifer Rasco. They've got some information to pass along. Can you share more of what you have?
Yes, our newsroom making calls, trying to find out what's going on. The Effingham County Sheriff's Department, they briefly lost power, but they are back on because of a generator. 911 is working. But the sheriff says there's a traffic light out in Diederich at Center in Maine. He said people are going through that intersection really quickly. He's asking people to just be cautious, take their time. Everybody go slow out there because there are some power outages.
And the last thing you need is a wreck to happen when they're trying to deal with all this. Exactly. And I reached out to the Indiana University Police Department. Jacob, you're talking about that situation over there in Bloomington on campus. The IUPD telling me that they were hit by a tornado on campus. They're going to be giving me a call back with more information. They said all their officers, as you can imagine right now, are very busy out dealing with whatever damage and maybe out there.
So the newsroom continue to make calls. Effingham County, Jasper County, we're trying to find out if there's any damage, if anybody has seen anything, and we'll bring you more as we get it.
All right, thanks so much for that. And again, we just kind of keep folks updated. I know IU is a little bit a ways from here, but a lot of folks have connections to that here in Central Illinois. And so we're watching for college students, friends, family that may be out there. Our immediate focus, immediate concern is in the Effingham County area right now. Real quick, before I toss it back to you, Jennifer, still now tornado warning. They did drop the confirmed tag. Watson, I'm going to give you an all clear. I think this is the 45 curve where it's coming up to. Kevin is coming in behind that. Mason, you're all clear. Eberly and Winterrud are the two towns in the path. And once we clear this through, perhaps we're going to sit a lot better here. But earlier, we also had quite a bit of damage in the Crawford County area. Jennifer, you've got another update for me. Let me know what you've got.
Yeah, this just coming into the newsroom. State police saying there are several crashes on I-57 south near Mason and Watson. Mason, we've been talking about Mason all day. One lane is open, but there are heavy traffic delays. So again, that's I-57 south near Mason and Watson, down to one lane. There are multiple crashes. That's what state police are telling us.
And I bet that was because of the heavy rain and the hail that came through there. And we will be keeping an eye on that very closely as well. Again, if you see the power is out, you treat stoplights like four-way stop signs. It's the one stoplight in Diederich that's out. There's probably some additional outages. More people are saying that there is some damage in Crawford County from earlier. We're seeing that. Some power outages sporadic here. Seth maybe will get us a report from roads as well as some power outage numbers perhaps. But we are still dealing with this tornado warning here for both of them. Again, both cells tornado warned now. This one here, the first leading one moving into Jasper County, if we can get it out of here, that's some great news. But we still have this one now that's in the central part of Effingham County, and we'll see if they extend that towards Eberly, towards Winterrude. Hail probably coming to Elliottstown, places to the south there. It's now south and east of Watson, and we're keeping an eye on that. Also, seeing another little cell trying to develop there south and east of Cowden, and we'll keep an eye, make sure nothing else develops. And then we keep an eye also on that tornado-warned storm over north of Beardstown. That's going to stay mainly out of our area. This is close to the surface low, a lot of wind shear close by there. I think that's why that's doing, but I'm not seeing a lot really establishing itself in between these two clusters of storm. And I hope that stays the case, because I think we're all a little severe weather weary after what's happened today. Let's get a check in and see if Kevin is available. Is he still in the Edgewood, or he made it up to Mason, it looks like now. There's Kevin in the storm tracker on the bottom right. The sky cam on the top right is the Effingham one. And right now, Kevin, I think that rotation is to your east, but I know you're kind of moving north. Tell us what your plans are and how things are progressing for you.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of cruise up here between Edgewood to Mason and see if it's spot any damage or any power outages or anything so far. I haven't seen anything. I heard you just talk about I-57. That's going to be just to the left of me where 57 is right now, and I'll see if I can see anything as I come up here. But so far, not run into anything major as far as any damage goes. But we are kind of behind that storm now. It does look like maybe it's lost a little bit of the rotation that it once had a little bit earlier. But, man, kind of those same areas getting hit from, I feel like it's deja vu. I was out here 2:30 this afternoon tracking some of these storms in the same area. So, so far, so good from a damage standpoint. If anybody in the area has heard about something, be sure to let our newsroom know. Or let you guys the weather team know. Any of us, I mean, you guys, your eyes and ears reports can help us out tremendously too, and we can go check things out for you. But as I just did first glances, driving through Edgewood, driving through Mason, things are okay there. But that storm was pretty intense for a short period of time, and still tornado warnings in effect. So don't let your guard down just yet. I'll continue to keep you up to date on what I see as I continue to travel here in Effingham County. For now, Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighting, the Storm Tracker, back to you.
All right, thanks, Kevin. And I do have some new video of the crash from Lauren Wilcoxon. She's a good friend. She had sent that in. I want to show you that real quick. This is I-57, where that crash has happened. Looks like here, maybe some semis have either been pushed off the road or rolled. We're just seeing this first as you are as well here. And so several scenes happening in that area from the I-57 area. Looks like some of those tow companies really lined up there helping out. Jennifer, I think you got another update for us here. What information can you pass along?
Just a little bit. We were talking earlier about power outages. We contacted Ameren. We've got 21 households without power in the Effingham area. And in Diedrich, you're looking at about 8. Just wanted to give you an update of what they're dealing with.
No, that's good. And I think as well, we're seeing those reports come and go in the region. And so, seems like some areas have kind of picked up on it. Other areas have maybe lessened that severity or got their power back on, I think. Seth, you've got something.
Just checking outage numbers here. It looks like over 1,800 without power in Effingham County and over 1,100 without power in Jasper.
And what company are those with by chance?
This will be, this is through Norris Electric mainly, but there are some Ameren ones in there as well, but largely Norris Electric out that way.
Perfect. So that's another one. There's lots of electric companies that are there, and that's what we're dealing with here. So, okay, I'll tell you what, I feel good about where we sit now as far as our severe risk extending beyond 7 o'clock. This is going to be a Jasper and a Crawford County issue, and we'll cover them on digital as long as no new storms form. Really, here in the next 15 minutes, we'll probably get these storms out of Effingham County and extend that digital coverage there. They did add a new tornado warning for the storm that's behind here. That's some strong rotation right in the county line just southwest of Eberly. You can see that hook shape, large hail falling between Eberly and Elliottstown. That second storm there, still warned as it heads towards Newton. It's near the Latona area. That's going to be just north of the Newton Power Station. Maybe that one's, we'll see here. Still lifting a little more north and east. I think this storm becoming the dominant one on the backside, it will continue that east path. So that will have me concerned for Newton, frankly, if this continues to stay strong and move that direction. Anyone in Effingham County, west of US 45, I'll give you an all clear. If you're east of US 45, south and east parts of the county, south of Dietrich, well south of Effingham, we're still here for you. But I'm seeing a number of folks saying the entire town of Dietrich is dark, perhaps. And so a lot of those folks are messaging us saying it's the Norris Power that they're on there. So probably getting some new updates and information there as some of the rural electric companies continue to update there. So Monica saying a whole neighborhood in Dietrich's out of power. Here's the thing, though. Here's Dietrich. The storms are to your south. So if there's something with the lines, it's south of you. I don't think you're in a tornado threat in Dietrich at all right now. So that's good. These are heading more towards Elliotstown and places that way as we move on through. Just kind of widening the view. It's the time of day where we are keeping a close eye on everything, because if new storms do get going here, that's going to be a problem for us. Potentially, I should say. We'll watch and see, but there's a little cell northwest of Effingham. Looks like maybe a little blip popping up there, Springfield, maybe a couple blips south of Macon. We'll see if those organize, if not for us, as we continue to move on through. But overall, still dealing with Effingham County primarily with the tornado warning that is here. And just got a quick update, 4 miles north of Bible Grove in the Effingham County area. This is a delayed report. A storm chaser reported a tornado at 6:21. And so that may have been why we had that confirmed.
Looks like Kevin's got something.
Tag. All right, let's go to Kevin real quick. He's not in the interstate, in fact. Kevin, can we go to you?
Yep. I'm between Watson and Mason. Here are the trucks. I'm going to try my best to kind of, I see one truck. Yeah, looks like it's lost its load here of some plywood. Yeah, one truck was off there in the ditch there. Looks like it was hauling some lumber there. So that stopped. That's got traffic. So that's going to be southbound 57 where that occurred. It looks like there's might be some more up here. And this is going to be kind of on those curves. If you're, familiar with, I-57 or Persodum, we always have those accidents near the curves. And so this is going to be kind of in that similar area. Looks like another truck potentially. Looks like another little area here where another vehicle has gone off in the ditch. Yeah, it's another truck that's kind of slid off. So looks like two different trucks there and a lot of tow trucks and whatnot there that are, oh, there's a third one. Whoa, there's actually a really big truck that maybe they collided against each other there. But so that's I-57 there. That was just between Mason and Watson. That's what you guys were seeing with those accidents. I counted three different semis there. Two of them involved in one area, then about a half a mile south of that, there was another one. So just a heads up there if you are traveling on 57 there. Just know right there at those kind of curves south of Watson is where those accidents have occurred. So, all right, guys, I will send it back to you for now. If you guys hear of anything, let me know. I will pivot and go check out any reports that you may have. But for now, in the Storm Tracker, I'm Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty. We'll send it back to you guys in the studio, and hopefully, again, like you guys have been talking about, hopefully we're going to be done with this here real soon.
Yeah, we'd love to get to 7 o'clock and get these storms towards noon. I will say if they're out of Effingham County, we will continue digital coverage here as they move on. Right now, right over Eberly, heading towards Winterrune is where that tornadic storm is. The other one firmly in Jasper County. We'll see if they extend that here. Kind of a mess of polygons, but we're focused on this storm and this storm, and both of them rotating as they're moving to the east. We're sending over to Brandon. He's got another update from news. Can you inform us what you've got?
Yeah, Jacob, out of Bloomington, Indiana. Good news out of Bloomington. Talked to IUPD. An officer just called me back, said that a couple trees down on campus, no injuries, nobody was hurt, and they're just picking up the branches right now. But good news out of the University of Indiana.
Perfect. I appreciate that update because for a while that storm was producing some sizable tornadoes that had approached Bloomington, Indiana, and IU, and we'll just keep an eye on them over there. But that's some good news to have. And we haven't had any significant damage reports in our immediate area. I do know that Crawford County has some damage, and we're still working to get information from there. We're hoping to get some updates from that to either from the EMA or our sister station WTWO, also working for that. But there's been some potential structural damage from tornadoes, and that is the afternoon round. Now we're in the evening round here, so 2 different rounds that have come on through. But these same areas have had tornado warnings and are dealing with them again. In a minute, Seth, we'll send it to you whenever you're ready to update us on some storm reports as we continue to watch. The tornado watch does continue until 8. No indication that they're going to extend that tornado warning out there north of Beardstown. That's good news. Looks like it's just going to be severe thunderstorm warning. It also stays north of our viewing area, so I'm okay with that. But we'll watch here. It looks like a little shower trying to grow here north of Springfield. Maybe some other little blips on the radar in southern Macon County. Nothing really establishing itself. I will be interested to see what this from Cowden towards Stewartson, Fancher, Mode, Shumway, Beecher City does. Wright's Corner, north and east, departing there. But I don't think they're in as favorable ingredients as these storms are here, and that's why we're continuing to watch and see how things play out here. You can see the 2 areas of rotation still very evident. The one now over Winterrude, the other north and west of Newton and moving to the east. This one, we'll find out what happens. They may extend the tornado warning through Jasper County. I do think that's staying south of Cumberland County as well. That's some good news, right? And then as we go into the second one here, that's going to follow. It might be more of an issue for Newton. And just keeping my eyes in this little area here, nothing sticks out to me in that Shelby, Northwest Effingham, Southern Central Shelby County storm at this point. Jennifer, give us an update on what you've got.
We've got more coming in from state police about those crashes on I-57. There were 7 reported crashes around milepost 151 and 152, 6 on the southbound side, 1 on the northbound side. 1 is an injury crash. Someone's hurt in one of those crashes. 2 remain active crash scenes. Both involve semi-trucks, so you know those are harder to clear. They will give us more information as they get it, but it seems as though they are working on 7 crashes there, where there were 7 crashes, still working on 2.
Perfect. Thanks, Jennifer. And so there's this one tornado warning that we have. We'll wait and see what they do. But we are potentially 5 or 10 minutes away or less from tossing. And if that happens, I think the plan will be we'll try and dump to commercial break, reset, catch up, see if we can get a little news in before the end of the hour would be the plan. And that's what we'll see what happens there. But we're going to stick with this for a little bit while longer. I do want to send it over to Seth really quick. He's got an update and also some storm reports that we have. Seth?
Yeah, that's right, Jacob. I just wanted to start first by showing a radar image here just to kind of let you see which storm caused this first report I'm about to show you. It was around 6:20, so kind of that first storm that moved through the Everly area. Do have a report from a spotter right there just south of Everly that a tornado was spotted. It was actually out there in the Bible Grove area. Again, that was about 25 minutes ago. That was at 6:21, so a spotter did see a tornado that way. But also, we've mentioned this earlier in the evening as well. This part of the area has already been hit this evening. We look at some other reports. These were from earlier in the day, but just not too far away. We had $half size hail just outside of Diedrich. A Wheeler, a funnel cloud was spotted as well. And we really talked about that big tornado, that storm that probably looked like the most impressive storm of the day out there in Crawford County. At one point in time, they said a house was destroyed. They said occupants were trapped inside of that as well. Again, this was around 4:30, so it's been about 2 hours since that's happened. But I think we can all agree that this part of the area has already clearly had enough of this. Hopefully these storms can kind of wane a little bit and weaken, so that way we don't have to deal with any bit more of that. But as we continue to see here, that's where those storms are hanging out at. Hopefully nothing else popping up. Been looking at some future track models here, and it sure looks like what we have out there right now is kind of all that it's thinking that we're going to get for the rest of the night. So hoping that remains true. But that's kind of the status of things right now, Jacob. The places that were already hit here earlier today, kind of seeing that round 2. But hopefully we're kind of heading towards some calmer conditions here before too long.
Yeah, that's right. I really hope that is the case for us here, Seth. So thanks for all your work in here. And we've got Kevin out in the storm tracker. He's in the Effingham area. And so what we'll do is we're actually going to dump out here very shortly because the rotation is now exiting Effingham County. The next radar frame, potentially about 6:51, 6:52. we will wrap up our severe weather coverage on air. We'll take a break. We'll leave this up because at 7 then, we may continue that digital coverage and continue that coverage on WCIX. But just watching this area of rotation, here's the Effingham-Jasper County line. Rotation right now just east of Winterroot on the county line. I want to get one more radar scan to get that firmly into Jasper County. And then, in fact, there's the radar scan, Seth. Look at that. Perfect timing here. And so we'll wrap up here at 6:50 for a quick commercial break. There's that other area of rotation north of Newton. The good news now, I am comfortable giving an all clear for Effingham County. Take a deep breath after that, right? Still have the warning technically, but the storm is departing. The rotation is on its way out. Still a little sliver of some thunderstorm activity. It's a Jasper County problem at this point. We'll have more updates on that coming up in just a bit. I'm meteorologist Jacob Dickey here in the WCIA3 Weather Center with meteorologist Seth Bonoff. We also have Chief Meteorologist Kevin Leidy in the studio, and we're going to take a quick commercial break. No, we're going to Jennifer next year in a minute. So there's Kevin. We appreciate you following us on digital platforms. As we move forth then, we'll have more updates starting at 7 p.m. on digital to continue following these storms. But our immediate area is now clear, Effingham County, clear from the tornado warning. Let's go ahead and send it to Jennifer and Brandon for some news.
WCIA 3 News at 6:30.
The house fire we told you about last night is now being considered arson, but there is even more to the story. The fire happened on Hessel Boulevard near Randolph Street. Now it's being connected to a fight between an ex-boyfriend and girlfriend just a few blocks away on Stadium Drive. WCIA3's Katie Moore is here. And Katie, it was a chaotic scene out there last night.
Jennifer, first responders say it all happened fast last night. The fire, the fight, and discovering they were connected.
They used to be in a dating relationship and had recently broken up.
It's a major detail police learned after breaking up a fight between Anaya Bailey and Dakari Hawthorne. Police say they responded to a call to help the fire department with a house fire on Hessel Boulevard. And they say around the same time they got another call, Hawthorne and Bailey had gotten into a physical fight not too far away. Hawthorne chased Bailey up the road to the intersection of Stadium Drive and First Street, and this is around where the fight took place. And police say it was after Bailey had lit Hawthorne's home on fire.
There had been some cardboard that had been placed over a basement window that was lit on fire and then pushed into the basement bedroom where it caught a mattress and a bed on fire.
Prosecutors say Bailey was banging on the windows and yelling.
Were there people inside when police say the house was lit on fire?
Yes, so at about 6:20 last night, Champaign Fire received a call for a report of a house on fire.
Prosecutors also say Hawthorne and his current girlfriend were inside the home. And both police and firefighters say it required a lot of teamwork to get their jobs done.
We're always asking them for their expertise in their field on the fire side, and then vice versa with us on the law enforcement side.
I like to say that the fire department does the what and the how, and the police department does the who and the why.
Nope. No one was hurt in the fire.
And Katie, both Bailey and Hawthorne appeared in court today.
Hawthorne was charged with domestic battery. The judge says he pushed Bailey to the ground and punched her. He was granted pretrial release, so he's out of jail. But Bailey's being held in jail overnight, and she's being charged with residential arson. Her detention hearing is tomorrow morning, and the defense argued that she should be released because she lives with her mother, she has no criminal history, and she's pregnant. All right, Jennifer, back to you.
All right, Katie, thank you so much.
Now to another investigation. Champaign police trying to find the person who pulled the trigger, severely hurting someone last night. Officers say they were called to the intersection of Stratford Drive and William Street just before 11 last night. Shortly after, they got a call from the shooting victim a few minutes away at Sangamon and Cambridge. First responders found a 26-year-old man shot multiple times. He was taken to the hospital in critical condition. If you know anything or have video that could help in the investigation, you're asked to contact Champaign Police. This information is also on our website, WCIA.com. And I do want to mention some information out of Crawford County. I just spoke to the sheriff there. We're waiting on a call back from them, and then we will bring you that information about those 2 homes that may have been hit by a tornado there in Crawford County. We'll be right back.
We're going to get you one last update here, and we were just checking in with Kevin. He's still moving out there, watching storms, but all clear Effingham County. That is the good news for us here. We are seeing the tornadic storms now in Jasper County. They stay away from Cumberland County at this point, and Newton has a storm to the north and east, another one to the west there, and so that's something that we'll monitor and keep an eye on. Again, that triple box that you see here, there's our Skycam. There's our storm tracker continuing to watch not only these storms, we'll keep an eye if there's any additional storms here. At this point here, in just a minute or two, I'll get a timer to let me know when we wrap. We will end our coverage on WCIA 3. I don't have any tornado warnings in our viewing area, and that's some good news for us. Should we get an additional tornado warning, we will be on WCIX. If you can't find us on CIA, check WCIX or our digital platforms. We're on there right now. We're going to keep that coverage going a little while longer to get these storms through Newton. And then we're going to keep an eye to make sure nothing gets out of hand here further to the northwest. I don't see anything sticking out to me. Maybe the one spot northwest of Effingham, something to monitor, but nothing concerning. Some good news there. Also, coming up tonight at 10, you can count on some updates on storm reports, damage reports, things of that. We'll be watching to see if we get more information from Crawford County, from Effingham County. So new tornado reports have come in there, and that's how we'll keep you updated with things. I'm meteorologist Jacob Dickey in the WCIA 3 Weather Center, here with meteorologist Seth Bonehoff. Chief meteorologist Kevin Leidy is in the Storm Tracker. If you'd like to continue with weather coverage, join us on our digital platforms. If not, we hope we don't see you until 10 o'clock tonight. Have a great rest of your evening, and we'll see you soon. Believe we're back on digital. Seth, give me a thumbs up if so.
Yep, we're good.
Cool. We're going to keep with our digital coverage here for a little bit, and production in the back is helping out with that. Just because I'm a little suspicious about this storm right here, and I don't want to let our guard down and then have to watch out, because that'll be going towards Neoga. I don't think that's in as favorable of an area, but certainly that is something where we will keep an eye on as we move on through. And then I also have Chief Meteorologist Kevin Leidy in the Storm Tracker, and we'll check in with him and get an update from him here in just a minute. I can hear that he hears me as well, so you can see him in there. Let me walk through real quick. I want to cover Jasper County a little more in depth. Again, we're only on digital platforms right now. Jasper County is kind of that border area, but we can continue that coverage and watch that other storm northwest of Effingham. And maybe, Seth, you can also turn that Skycam to look up that way, and we'll get a report from you on those power outages and whatnot at some point here. Those areas of rotation don't stick out to me as intense as they maybe were earlier here. I think we had 2 tornadoes this evening on top of any potential tornadoes earlier this evening. But this storm right here, still rotating, moving into the west side of Newton. There's Bogota. There's the lake where the Newton Power Station is. It's north of there, coming in on 33. Here's the city of Newton. The other area of rotation now is northwest of Willow Hill, closing in on Hunt City. A little unusual to have back-to-back rotating storms basically following each other like railroad tracks, but that is what we'll continue to monitor and watch here. At this point, I don't see any rotation up by Shumway. I am just suspicious. I have zero trust for any storms here at this point, and I'm just checking a different source here of information. We hope it stays that way, but that is something just to monitor given the atmosphere and how it is. The setup here, you can see it strengthening a little bit. The setup here is, this is the line. So in the viewing area, Taylorville, Springfield, Litchfield, Jacksonville, Vandalia, you're done for the night. Very soon, we'll be done in Lincoln, Decatur, Sullivan, and Cumberland County. Eventually, then we'll clear out the rest of the area in the next couple of hours, but we don't need any more storms to do that. But if they do, we're going to be here to walk you through that. I'd like to toss to Chief Meteorologist Kevin Leidy here and get an update from him. Hey, Kevin, tell us where you are, what you saw today, and if you have any plans to continue the rest of the evening.
You hear that?
East and into my neck of the woods here, noticing a little bit of lightning in there. Looks like there might even be a little bit of small hail. There's a little bit of a core there. It's coming into the Stewartson area here right now. So again, I'm just kind of coming up to the Neoga exit. I'm just going to peel off and then let that storm kind of come right to me, and we'll give you some views of that. But as of right now, that one doesn't look like there's anything too serious in it, but as Jacob said, with all day, any of these storms, you just never quite know. And I'll say this, and the temperature gauge in your car isn't always, the most accurate, but it's showing 53 degrees. I mean, you start to get that cool. It's tough to, get much going, but I would believe maybe a little bit of hail potentially in there. So we're going to watch this storm as it comes down. I don't really see much else. There is that new warning with the cell up there southwest of Peoria, which is, kind of surprising, and that's probably because of some hail. So, this one that continues to go to the north and east and kind of clip northwestern Cumberland County and then maybe into southwestern Coles County. We're just going to watch it. So I'm going to peel off here on this exit right here, get off on 45. And obviously this is an area that has had a history. We've had some storms in the past few years and tornadoes down this way. So not saying that's happening now, but saying that, hey, we got your back. We're just going to cruise on through here, and then we'll let you know what we see, and we'll show you that storm as it comes into Cumberland County. For now, in the storm tracker, getting ready to get off here on exit 177. Shout out to our folks in Cumberland County right now in Neoga as we take a little stop here at the old BP gas station. For now, we'll step back to you in the studio, and we'll watch that storm come right at us. May have some good pictures of that rain coming down here in a second.
All right, Kevin, thanks for that report. Again, to give you an idea of where he is, there's the storm by Stewartson. It's there. It has those early characteristics of supercellular. But as we look at the spotter icon, if something does develop, look who's downstream. There's Kevin in Neoga. So that's the good news. I don't think the folks in Neoga care to have Kevin there, frankly, but they had a rough year so far last year, and we'll see what goes with that. But if something's moving that way, he's going to give us a report and let us know, and we'll check back on him with him in a little bit. And Kevin, so I'm keeping production because I don't trust that storm. Again, we don't think it's going to, but if it does, we're going to ramp up quickly with that coverage and just kind of roll here for a little bit while longer. Let's go back down to Jasper County. Kevin, I can hear you. Let's go to Kevin real quick.
Well, I was just going to say, is this that gas station where that year ago when the sign blew over, I think, right? Is this the one?
Yep, that's the gas station there, Kevin.
And we met Bob. We met Bob. Bob
yes.
That we talked to. Yeah.
I think you still owe him a steak dinner, but we'll see what happens there. So. All right, so Kevin, getting some gas. You kind of check out there. We'll come back to you here in a little bit. I do want to spend some time back in Jasper County. The tornado warning continues, and they've had a number of those tornado warnings today. 2 areas of rotation. One of them now over the city of Newton. I don't have indications that it's on the ground. This storm has had a history of producing tornadoes. I think we should treat it as if it's one on the ground because we're also dealing with the darkness and not being able to see things as well here. It's the safest course of action, the course of least regret. Another area up by Hunt City continues to the north and to the east. The good news, and not by much, but those are going to stay south of Cumberland County, which is good news for us here. We are happy to see that. So can you check audio? Do you have the production audio on?
Yeah, I do, yes.
Somebody says there's no audio. So I just want to make sure that you've got
readings on here.
Production.
It was gone for a second, but
okay, cool. Yeah. Looks good there. Someone's saying they got some pea-sized hail in Stewartson and some other small hail that's showing at this cell. So hail maybe increasing a little bit there. And I haven't looked at the see if it's shown up. Radar estimating perhaps up to dime to nickel size hail with that storm. Hail size isn't that big in the two storms in Jasper County either. And just kind of looking at some things, there's a lot of spotters and chasers in the Newton area. So if there is something, we would find out pretty quickly.
And it looks like there was.
Here. And that continues to be.
It looks like
Seth, go ahead.
About 8 minutes ago, there was a funnel cloud sighted by a spotter just west of Newton. So in the last 8 minutes, there's been a funnel cloud spotted.
Okay, so funnel cloud spotted. So and that was with the storm in Newton County.
The one in Jasper County.
Jasper County in the Newton area.
Yep.
Okay, I need to add
just
your audio to my ears because I'm unclear coming here. Go ahead, talk real quick again, Seth.
Yep. We got that.
Are you on sports? Which one are you on?
I am on PA 8.
Oh, 8. Sure, Michael Heath is rolling his eyes at me here. Okay, so talk again real quick.
Yep. Can you hear me now?
Okay, perfect. I hear him. So that's how I'll be able to hear you in my ears. Wearing hearing aids, it's just how things go sometimes. Makes it more difficult, I suppose. We're going to watch that storm there again. So a funnel cloud reported in the Newton area. You said it was where at again?
Just west of Newton on Route 33. They're just west of town. That was at 6:58, so just a little less than 10 minutes ago.
Okay, so they're still seeing some rotation there. So Newton, if you're not in shelter, you're out of time. You better head to shelter here with that tornado warning that continues. And we're dealing with two storms. Again, there it is. That rotation is there. Our radar beam, though, is all the way down. To give you an idea, it's all the way down here. So we're looking at 4,000 or 5,000 feet up. But there's certainly still some rotation within that. The second area of rotation now is east of Hunt City. It's about ready to cross into Crawford County. Crawford County has had it rough tonight. Several tornadoes reported there, and that's not good to see another batch coming behind. Looking here, Seth, I don't see anything immediately concerning, but there's just the slightest pixel there on the end where perhaps we're still seeing that storm in southeastern Shelby County strengthen a little bit as it heads towards Neoga. And I'll pop on that the Doppler radar for you. We're looking at velocity, how it moves. There is what it looks like intensity-wise. And we had some pea-sized hail reported in the Stewartson area. And just checking the chat here, continuing to see if anything else is. Other hail reports coming from that area, but nothing large that's sticking out there. So that's what we'll continue to monitor here. But I just want to don't trust this atmosphere, this environment today. Farther upstream, looks like maybe another core back in Logan County now. Trying to get going here over Mount Pulaski. There's a lot of wind turbines there too, so it's going to be hard to see what that's doing until it moves a little bit. But another little spot of red showing up on 121 there at Mount Pulaski. Should that strengthen, that might be more of a hail threat. And then these storms, wowee. This is just outside of our area, but this is in Mason, right over Havana on 136 west of our area. Severe thunderstorm warning, a little hook on there. There's probably some hail in there and maybe a little rotation, but notice the boxes there. These polygons do not have red outlines. That's good because if it had a red outline, that would mean tornado possible. I think they're thinking these storms are not surface-based. What that means is to have a tornado, it needs to be a surface-based storm, not a layer of stable air in between that. And so that's something that we will continue to keep our eyes on, keep our fingers crossed for. But currently, right now, continuing on digital and waiting, if needed, to go to WCIX. Because of this storm that I just don't trust south. I don't know if I've ever trusted a storm.
I don't know if you have either.
Yeah,
it sounds like.
But on a day like today, where for a little while we were being teased that nothing was going to happen, and then within maybe 20, 30 minutes, we went from nothing to some tornado warnings and have been pretty busy here the last several hours. So that is southeastern Shelby County. Neoga, we're here on digital for you. Eventually, as it moves to the north and to the east, southern Coles County, northern Cumberland County. Sometimes if they strengthen, they move a little more to the right. Maybe that keeps it far south of Mattoon and maybe far south enough from Charleston, more into the areas like Diona, Janesville, south of towards Lerna, I should say. Locks is north, and into some parts of northern Cumberland County there east of Neoga. So that is what we're watching. Looks like Kevin's still getting some gas, kind of sitting there maybe taking care of some things you can see in the storm tracker. We'll be checking with him soon. And then the Skycam, we still got Effingham. Maybe we consider, is that facing north?
From it. Yeah, it is
facing north.
there's a little bit of a light on top of the hospital that kind of interferes every now and then. But
yeah, maybe on your computer, if you can bring that Skycam full, we'll look at it a little bit. We're looking from Effingham to the north now. Kevin is east of that storm right here. So here's the camera view that'll be coming up in a second on Max 1. There's the view from Neoga where Kevin will give us there. And there's the spinny light for the hospital there. I would expect to see more lightning at this point. There was a little bit. You remember maybe perhaps if you've been with our coverage for a while, down by Mason and Watson, there was some pretty intense lightning and consistent lightning there. So if we see it strengthened, we'll see more lightning like that. In fact, the storm tracker there in the bottom right, Kevin's in that there now, starting to get some rain from the leading edge of that here as it continues to work to the north and to the east. National Weather Service has not said anything recently about any of those storms, but they are just kind of starting to compile some of those reports in. And maybe, Seth, you can give us a update on that here before long. And hail swath-wise, there's a little bit there, and you can see the swath there south of Watson and Effingham County along the county line near Hill and 45 southwest of Edward. A little bit of hail showing up there, but that's coming down. And then just peeking out here, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of hail, but we can still squeeze some quarters out. I kind of think at this point, Seth, maybe you agree with me, perhaps we're getting late enough where the later we go, the less the trend is. But I don't want to jinx ourselves as I'm waiting on a radar update. And that's what we'll keep an eye on with that. So I hear Kevin, but we'll come back to him.
I'm actually glad you brought that.
Go ahead, Seth, and go ahead and take over real quick.
Glad you brought that point up here about just kind of as we go later into the evening, as there's some sciencey, nerdy stuff going on here. But ILX did just have their sounding upload, so we can see what's happening right there near Lincoln. There is a pretty good inversion aloft. There's a lot of inhibition, so that's going to keep things kind of away from surface-based storms. So we kind of talked about the little popcorn storms up there to the north, and I'll even bring that up here on my radar in just a moment. It looks like the environment just not quite as suitable for any kind of surface-based storms that way. It doesn't mean that we can't have some sort of elevated storm that will bring maybe some small hail here at some point in time, but the environment up here across the northern half of the area just not quite as just not able to sustain storms as well, not able to build them from the ground up quite as easily. So not as much of a concern up that direction. That, of course, changes pretty sharply as we go south. Lincoln's the only spot that we can get these consistent soundings from, but it looks like as anything kind of creeps to the north and from this point in the night onward, maybe things kind of just slowly tapering more towards the tame side of things, but obviously still have a few storms to cut through. But just wanted to make that note that up there in Lincoln, looks like the profile not suggestive for tornadic storms up that way, even if we do have a little bit of action continuing into the night.
Yeah, and that's good because the wind profile looks good. It's that layer of warm air, I think, that maybe could save us a loft farther to the north. I will say this, just kind of looking at some of the areas of rotation, maybe it's slowly trying to pick up a little bit. It's a little better. It's not great, but it's, if we consider this a continuum here, maybe we've taken a step towards a little bit more rotation with that storm farther to the south. And the Lincoln, too, that's going to cover us from storms from Lincoln and up there into the north. It's a little bit of a different environment down here. I don't know if I see a whole lot in there. Maybe the Edwardsville radar picks up, but that's kind of a stretch to get anything there. So let's just hope that this isn't going to materialize into anything at this point. And what we'll probably do is give it another 10, 15 minutes. We'll probably see if this storm in east of Newton, get it across the county line into Crawford County, and then see what this is doing. But you can see it a little bit in there, Seth, can't you?
Yeah, you can. And the Matt Toon cameras pick it up. It's a pretty good lightning looking to the south and west of it, too. So I'll
go ahead and pull that up on Max 1 if you want, then, when you get that up. So
just missed probably the best strike that I'm going to see, but we're looking just south here once this pops up. And we're looking right down Lakeland Boulevard there. So this camera sits right atop one of the buildings on Charleston Avenue, just kind of right there where the two roads meet. So watching directly to the south, that's kind of where that storm that is currently out there in the Strasburg area, out there closer to Neoga as well. Another place that's kind of seen some storm activity roll throughout the day. We're kind of looking at that direction. And like I said, saw probably the best strike I'm going to get. Maybe there was one tiny one there on the right side of the screen, but we'll see if this storm continues to stay electric, because if it does, that means there's still some kicking going on inside it. That means there's still some good life, that things aren't kind of weakening by any stretch of the imagination. We'll just watch and see what kind of lightning strikes we can get here from this distance. Like you said, there's kind of some sort of broad, movement there. Don't want to necessarily call it rotation. Doesn't look super tight at all, but it's pulsing up a tiny bit. We're starting to see some higher reflectivity, maybe some heavier rain or some hail dropping in there. Hopefully we can kind of keep things away from the surface, keep that rotation very broad at the very most. But like I said, we've got a view of it from a distance here in Mattoon, just kind of watching to see if there's any good lightning coming from that. That'll give us a hint on its strength as it continues to march that direction a little bit.
Yeah, good. So we'll keep an eye on that. We're going to get an update from NWS on that storm near Neoga. From Cumberland County, they're requesting just some more information. I want to point this out too, Seth. There's starting to be some more robust development in Logan, Sangamon, and Macon counties here. Starting to see some more cores perking up here. But again, if the environment is from Lincoln not favorable for tornadoes, then that's our best friend. And we just get some rain out of this as these continue to move to the north and to the east there. But there has been some small hail reported. Still have these storms here. Those are impressive for February storms, even if they're not tornadic. Looking at that, that's going to be Fulton, Mason counties, places like that. And then, just kind of watching here in the last 45 minutes, maybe I'll put the radar on. It's probably even less than that, Seth. These storms kind of picking up a little bit. I mean, they just kind of popped up all of a sudden there, Mechanicsburg and south of Argenta. So maybe we can get some rain. But of course, this is maybe the next storm to try and do something. And maybe the last scan too turned a little more to the right there. So that's something that we'll monitor and check. Let's see if we've got Kevin. And Kevin, I see your camera, and if you can hear us, Kevin, let's get an update from you and what you're seeing with that storm. Getting some rain right now, it seems like.
Yeah, so I peeled off here, like I said, here in Neoga at the BP. Ironically, ran into, the lady who sent you the pictures of the accident, Lauren, who has also, been out chasing storms, and she just pulled in and said hello to us here, and she's been out and about kind of following along. But yeah, look at this now. The rain is starting to come down even more, and I think I'm actually going to be in a good position to maybe get a little bit of hail here in a second. So it's starting to pick up a little bit more in its intensity, but that hail core, it's really skinny. So I'm kind of threading the needle here on whether or not I'm going to get any of it. But here, let me see if I can't fire up the old handheld camera here and see if I can't get it to work for us and give you maybe another view as that storm begins to come into the area here. Again, we're in Neoga. We're just kind of watching the storm. All right, let me see if I can punch up. No, I don't think she's going to work. Not working right now. So we'll have to just go with the camera that you see here. But lightning definitely picking up here for us. Heavy rainfall. Again, we're just kind of sitting here just watching to see if this storm does anything. Right now, again, as you've been kind of monitoring it and showing things, so far nothing looks to be too crazy with it. But I'm going to try to swap out this battery on this camera and then maybe give you guys another view of things here. But it might get a little hail in the next couple minutes. I'll yell at you here if I start getting some of that. So in the meantime, hanging out here in Neoga. We'll send it back to you for now.
All right, thanks, Kevin. Again, here's his location. I-57 is here. Neoga sits here. There's the BP gas station. There's a restaurant there. And this pink area is some hail. Radar indicates maybe it's up to 3/4 of an inch. I don't think the National Weather Service, I should say, doesn't think that it's big hail up to an inch, but certainly there's going to be quite a bit of small hail coming on in. So we'll check back with Kevin here. And I think Kevin's going to be right in it, to be honest, based on the way things look. So we'll see what he gets. It might be a lot of really small hail. And I haven't checked the social media chat as well here, getting an update. Kind of seeing just some folks saying hail and Stewartson earlier from that. So that's what we will monitor and keep an eye on. And yeah, there's some weak, broad, unorganized turbulence with it. Maybe it's taking a step, but I don't see anything that's immediately concerning from that. So that's some good news. And then we got a new severe thunderstorm warning. Am I getting old data here? Clark and Jasper. Okay, that's those storms down to the south. Let's go back down there to Newton and Lerna. It looks like the National Weather Service opting for severe thunderstorm warnings. Newton's all clear. Willow Hill, Hunt City, the last two towns with tornado warnings, but they might be downgrading to severe thunderstorm warning. Some of that's because I don't think radar is quite as impressive with rotation. That northern cell, no longer tornadic. There's still some broad rotation in there in eastern Jasper County. We'll see if that's continued as a tornado warning, but I don't have a lot of as much concern for that as I did earlier. For a little while, it looked pretty impressive there to bring us some trouble, but that's what we will continue to monitor here. And I got to thank the production folks in the back. I really think by 7:30, we might have a decision on just downgrade that coverage even more here as that moves out, give you guys a break. But that storm's right on top of Neoga now. Maybe it's a good time to go back to Kevin. Maybe seeing a little hail there. Kevin, you got anything coming down?
I think we're still maybe just a couple of minutes away from getting
just
some
got hail reports in Neoga.
You just got some?
Yeah, hail in Neoga. So
we're close. Yeah, so I'm kind of north. Obviously, I'm just northeast, so it should be about to hit here any minute or so. I'm going to guess that hail is going to come in here. So I'm just kind of waiting here and watching to see if we're going to get that. I think that core is probably a minute away from me if we're going to get something. So,
and Kevin,
just,
can we count on you to?
Yeah.
Can we count on you, Kevin, to go stand in front of that camera as it hits?
Oh, I think we're starting to get some.
Let's take Kevin's shot there. Kevin, what are you seeing?
See him kind of bouncing. There's a little bit in here. It's really small right now, but I have a feeling it's going to pick up here in just a second. That core again, because we're kind of just northeast of the town here, right there off of 57. But yeah, so far this is just a good old-fashioned thunderstorm. Thank goodness, not seeing the rotation signs that we had earlier with it. But you're definitely getting some much needed rain out of this. So that's some fantastic news, is that, the rainfall that we're getting from this is definitely going to be beneficial, and can't complain about that. That is for sure. But I don't think that the hail is going to be, big enough that it's going to cause, issues with your roof and car here from what we can tell. But there might be some dime size hail that might be embedded in some of this here. Boy, nothing like what I saw earlier in Diederich when, we took that picture of that golf ball size hail. And we've had a lot of hail reports today. We've not had wind damage reports. And that's usually the opposite. Usually we get way more of the wind damage reports when we see storms in central Illinois. And this time it's hail has really kind of been predominant, and probably more tornado reports than wind damage reports. So kind of strange here, but all right, just starting to see things kind of pick up just a little bit here with the intensity. Oh yeah, somebody just peeled right in behind me. Oh, here it comes. There's the hail.
Turn your camera down a little bit so we can see the hood, Kevin. So there's Kevin. He's in Neoga, catching a little bit of that hail. We don't think it's severe, but he's there. It's just a lot of smaller hail, and that could be pretty loud there, Kevin. I can hear the audio a little bit in the background for you. Is it getting a little loud for you?
Yeah, it's not too bad. I'll tell you, this is kind of funny, though. There's a guy behind me. Actually, there's several cars that peeled in behind. I don't blame them. They probably don't. They think, oh, my gosh, it's probably going to get a lot bigger, but we know it's not. But, yeah, the gas station under the canopy is always people will do that. I would say this: please don't do that under underpasses and overpasses. We try to stress that. You can impede traffic, cause an accident. Underpasses aren't good to be at anyways, even when there are storms, possible tornado. Kind of creates like a little suction there and kind of suck you right out. So please, I know you don't want your car getting hit, but I think it's why most of us have insurance. But the guy behind me, I guess he was like, yeah, I'm gonna stop out here. I'm gonna get some gas here. So there you go. Good for him. But yeah, there we go. Got the hail coming down. It is, it's not very big. I mean, like what we like to call the sonic ice kind of hail coming down here so far. But that's about the extent of our storm here. I'm not seeing much else to be concerned about. So that's some good news. But we're sitting here just taking in the hail here as we speak, and don't see much else with some of these other storms, which is good news. I think, as you mentioned,
probably going to be winding down our coverage here before too long. There may be some other additional storms there firing up there into, Logan County, maybe into Macon and DeWitt County that may have some additional, hail reports. But I think that as far as the big time warnings go, I think we're going to largely miss out on anything else that's going to be more significant. So just look out for the traffic and the semi trucks out there on the highways, man. They're out there tonight and they're still trying to do what they do. So looks like the hail has stopped. So yeah, that was about the extent of it there, just enough to fill up a glass with some ice. So wrapping things up here from the storm tracker, largely today, obviously, hopefully wind up, for our, the majority of our viewers here, skipping out on anything major, which is fantastic. But this is one of those days where you just never know, if that tornado touches down in the middle of the city, big story. If it goes through a field where there's nothing there, not as much of a story, not as big of a deal, but you just never can know for sure how things are going to play out. So good to have that warning and, just the heads up, and the fact that this is just February and we're dealing with this. I'm sure just the beginning for us as we go into the spring season. All right, that's it here from the storm tracker in Neoga. We'll be shooting back up north here before too long, so we will catch you guys later. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Leidy. Hope you guys all have a good rest of your night. It's only 7:30.
Yeah,
seems like it should be like midnight.
I agree with you there. So thanks, Kevin, for that. Real quick, before we send it to Seth, an update from the National Weather Service. They're watching those storms, saying some scattered hail, a tornado possible up towards Havana and into Tazewell County. We'll keep an eye on that. They also still have circled that the tornado threat continues for the storm where Kevin is in Neoga and off to the south and east. But Seth, you're going to explain a little bit more about that in a second. First, you've got some power outages. Talk more about what you've got going through. And then we will kind of downgrade from production here shortly, go to just our switcher coverage, you and I, Seth. But we'll keep production close by till 8 and kind of see what happens. So, Seth, take it away.
All right, sounds good, Jacob. And yeah, just wanted to start things off by taking a look at some of those outage numbers. Haven't really brought it up on this map here so far tonight. Amazingly enough, a lot of us are in pretty good shape here. I may be a little skeptical about the green down there in Crawford County just because they had some pretty hard storms hit down that direction at one point in time too. But what we're seeing right now is these purple circles there across the Effingham and Jasper County. That means at least over 1,000 outages. We're actually upwards of 3,000 outages there in Effingham County and over 1,200 in Jasper County. So not a lot of places with electricity down that way. That's where they kind of got the 1-2 punches storms here throughout the day. We got about 4,300 without power here all across the state. Do want to update you all on the updated tornado watch. They did remove it from Effingham and Fayette County. They did extend it, I think, for safe measure until 10 p.m. here for these places that are still highlighted in the yellow. So I still have just a couple hours to kind of watch things. That's more out of an abundance of caution than anything, especially with the storms that are still present that look like they may have some sort of tornado potential with them at some point in time. But we'll continue to keep an eye out for that. Also, Storm Prediction Center had another look at things, provide us with their evening update as well. You can see our southwestern corner of the area, no longer in any sort of risk whatsoever. And I think this marginal risk, again, just kind of out of abundance of caution in case a couple of storms do kind of maybe bring some hail at some point in time. Slight risk maintained there east of I-57. These outlooks can sometimes be just a little bit, I don't know what the right word is for it, but sometimes these outlooks maybe not completely cleaned up right where stuff's happening. So we'll kind of watch. I think that slight risk doesn't really bring too much of a concern for me in Champaign, Vermilion County. Maybe we continue to watch where those storms are, of course, right now, closer to the Crawford and Jasper County areas. But we will, for the most part, to not see too much extra action jumping here. And again, your tornado risk, same kind of idea there. They've updated that, still kind of keeping things closer to that 4 out of 10 there in parts of the yellow. But again, I don't really have too many concerns up here across parts of Champaign and Vermilion County as far as any sort of tornado potential is concerned, just because it doesn't look like there's any storms that are going to kind of get started here for the next couple of hours. So it'll make it a little harder to see much that way. Still looking out here in Charleston now, off to the south and west. Keep an eye on that storm that's out there closer to Neoga. We get some occasional lightning up this direction. Still not seeing anything too terribly exciting here on this sky cam. But again, with that update that Storm Prediction Center kind of provided, just gives you a little bit of an idea. And of course, trimming that tornado watch as well. Things are starting to wind down a little bit. But like I said, a lot of places just for the next hour or two, continuing to, out of an abundance of caution, just keep an eye on some things because we do have some storms there that are present in the area. Not done with things here just yet. And I also wanted to bring up here where the storms have happened throughout the day today too. These storm reports, you can see it is pretty much completely hugging I-70. We kind of had a couple of hail reports, but I think that was storms late last night into early this morning. That was actually up this direction. So you can see plenty of tornado reports, funnel cloud reports, all tucked down there south of I-70, even some hail reports. But kind of like Kevin was alluding to earlier, no wind reports here across the area. Just a little bit surprised to see that. But these supercell storms did exactly what they always do. They drop some big hail. They bring some rotation with them, even some tornadoes that are able to get going as well. So kind of a weird setup in February. Unfortunately, we're kind of getting used to this kind of thing around this time of year with these sneaky setups. But like we've been alluding to all week long, whenever it's 68 degrees or something like that, 70 degrees in February, that usually means there is some not good activity that is awaiting in the days ahead. The good thing is, though, it looks like things finally starting to come down here a little bit. Kind of the key words from this, Jacob, has just been out of an abundance of caution. There's still some storms out there. Do they look super intimidating? No, but you just never know what can happen here into these evening hours sometimes.
Yeah, I felt like that through the day today. I was like, oh, are we going to get those storms? And 2, 3 o'clock roll around and we were quiet. And then finally, when we got those storms, I think that sunshine helped to get us over the edge. That's when we picked up on the risk a little bit here and saw things escalate a little bit more. Let's do this. Production. First off, we got a production team in the back. They are the best folks in the biz. They keep us going and they help us out. We're going to get you guys off and try and get you guys a break. It'd be nice to have one person close by in case we do need to jump back on TV. But the idea, the risk going lower, we're just going to kind of ease ourselves into that here, especially with that tornado watch getting extended. It's mainly for this storm. There's a little bit of instability in front of it that might be able to tap into, but it really hasn't changed in shape or size for me. And I think the hail really hasn't come up or down either. And then the tornado warning is all clear in Jasper County. It is severe thunderstorm warning in Crawford County, and those will be carrying into Indiana shortly here. One thing to note, though, we are seeing some more development pick up here from right along Illinois 54, actually, from Clinton down towards Mount Pulaski. More cells popping, another one near Mahomet. This area, though, doesn't have the most favorable terrain for tornadoes. It seems that maybe it'll be heavy rain, thunder, maybe some hail potential up that way. So we'll keep an eye on that. But my concern low, not zero, but it is low here at this point, which is good. What we'll do, production, tip of the cap to you. Thank you for your help. We're going to fade to black. Give us a second on digital because then Seth and I are going to manually switch some things here, and I might let him drive for a little bit and get a break here. But thank you for being with us here. The severe weather risk continuing to decline. It's not quite zero, and that's why we're just out of an abundance of caution. I mean, all those tornado reports down there, certainly that verified with that risk, so we will keep you updated. Thanks again, and stand by. We'll continue coverage here in just a minute, and thanks to production for being with us.
Alrighty, everyone. I think we are successfully switched over here, so we'll just kind of walk through some things. Like we've said, the level of concern kind of down here just a little bit, but still enough to pay attention to keep this stream going here for just a little bit, even if it's to a lesser capacity. So we will fire up radar here and see what exactly we are dealing with. We'll get that to load up here. Still watching these storms out here in the northern part of Crawford County, area that has been already hit here today. Thankfully, I don't want to say thankfully because I don't want anybody to get these storms, but it was the southern half of the county that really got hammered by those tornadic storms earlier. This one kind of more into the northern half of the county. So just kind of grateful that we're not getting 1-2 punch down there where they've already had it here earlier today. These warnings continue with that tornado possible tag on a couple of these. Also watching for 60-mile-an-hour winds and quarter-size hail. So just something to consider out that direction as they get ready to cross over into Indiana and head kind of closer that direction here later in the night. The one thing that's kind of keeping us around here, just keeping us a little suspicious, is this storm right there. South Coles County, northern Cumberland County. It's just kind of been maintaining its current status. Don't want to necessarily say it's strengthened a ton, but it certainly hasn't come down by any means. So it's another thing that we're just kind of watching out for, seeing what it does. I'll even put it on a little bit of a loop here just so you can see how it's evolved or maybe not changed a whole lot here in the last half hour or so. So that gives us kind of an indication that maybe we're kind of pushing towards a little bit more of a ceiling here. Maybe we won't go beyond that. But we will, of course, continue to watch that kind of thing and any sort of popcorn storm activity that is going up here closer to where that Lincoln radar is. Just some of this little stuff. Don't think it's got enough to tap into here at this point in the night. Don't know if it can make itself based in the surface, I should say. So a lot of these storms maybe just kind of elevated, maybe get some heavy rain, maybe some hail out of it. But the environment not quite as supportive of that direction for anything, but definitely worth keeping an eye out for. What I'll do here is kind of zoom in again on this one main storm that we're watching. Getting ready to kind of head towards the Charleston direction. I'll throw up a tiny bit of lightning. We'll see what we can see on the Charleston camera here. It's kind of been hit or miss with the lightning and the frequency of it, but we'll go ahead and toss it on here and see if there's anything to see in the distance. Kind of our best view here of the storm as it moves up there closer to Coles County. So just kind of a quiet view there at the moment, maybe some occasional flashes of lightning. We may need to move this. This camera's looking right there to the southwest, so that should give us a pretty good look if there is any sort of lightning we can see from this direction. But largely, things have, there we go. That was a nice strike. I feel like I've been telling people about the lightning on these cameras all night just for them to do nothing when I turned them on, so it was nice to see that. But again, that storm's still kicking a little bit. You're not seeing super frequent lightning. You're not seeing super rapid strengthening by any measure here. So just kind of watching as it maintains its current strength there here as we have passed halfway here in the 7 o'clock hour. Do want to bring up again the latest update with the tornado watches. National Weather Service continued the watch until 10 p.m. Central Time for the places that you see highlighted in the yellow here. Again, I think that's mostly out of an abundance of caution with some of those storms still present in the area, but they did go ahead and get rid of the Fayette and Effingham County portion of that watch. So there's at least a few places that don't have to worry about anything anymore, kind of officially removed from those watches, and can just kind of relax here for the rest of the evening. Let's hop on Future Track and see kind of what it's showing us here. You'll be seeing this update as I do as well. This current one, maybe not the, it's not doing too bad here with the placement of some of these storms, so we'll roll with it and kind of let it roll forward here. Maybe there's some more of those just little tiny dots. You can see some of them there popping into the picture, but you don't really see anything that rapidly intensifies or just kind of forms more of that supercell shape we've seen throughout the day. So there is indication maybe some more storm activity in general kind of continues on here through the next several hours, but it sure doesn't look like there's going to be anything that surprises us this time. I just don't think the environment is, it just doesn't have a whole lot left in it. We've kind of used a ton of it here throughout the day, and even the places that didn't see a whole lot of, storm activity, stealing some of that fuel. It's just kind of too late in the day for it. We're just kind of losing some of that energy and everything that would be needed in order to get those storms at least surface-based, and those are the more dangerous storms because, of course, anything based in the surface can touch the surface, and that is exactly what your tornadic storms end up being. So just kind of a look here across the area. We've kind of gotten away with things here, not had any trouble in Champaign and Decatur out there in Springfield, lots of high populated areas, Danville, that didn't really see much today. And that was kind of the thought. It was going to be mainly down there around I-70. There was a kind of wild card chance that something could sneak up this direction, but that did not come to fruition. And we are thankful for that because we did not want to, didn't want to see anything up here. We are not big fans of that strong storm activity anywhere here in the area. Let's take a look here real quick. People have kind of been mentioning some rain totals with this as well. I'm kind of curious to see myself how much rain we've gotten here across parts of the area. Of course, it'll mainly be down there across the south, but this is kind of something we are happy to see. The one kind of good byproduct that these storms brought us is the rainfall here in the area. So you just kind of see this strip of brighter green that runs roughly from parts of southern Effingham County, maybe out there towards Watson, all the way up to maybe kind of closer to the Marshall area. We'll just drop a little tool here and there. It'll kind of tell us how much that rain is. So you're kind of looking anywhere between like 1.5 to maybe 3 inches of rain there in some of the heaviest spots. So that is one good thing that comes from this. We're in a drought all across the area. It's worse up here closer to the Champaign area, but everyone needs it at this point in time. So it's just good to see that here, even if it is on a somewhat small capacity. It's not a very wide strip of heavy rain, but I'm sure the people in southern Effingham, northern Jasper County appreciate that very much because it is the only good thing that came out of things tonight. because those same areas also saw this. I'll bring up the storm reports from Central Illinois, and things just got so busy here for us. One of the first storms of the day down here this direction, closer to the Effingham County area, did have a report of a tornado out there closer to Mason at one point in time. It says Mason. It's put on over Altamont there. I think that's just an error on the placement of the logo. That should be down there closer to the Mason area. But that was closer to 3 o'clock. That was one of the first storms of the day that got things started. And then again, later this evening, out there closer to Eberly, we had another tornado spotted at about 6:21. So just kind of wild to see two different storms, two different rounds, pretty much hit the exact same real estate area here out there in Effingham County and eventually into Jasper County as well. We have some hail reports, especially in the Diedrich area. That was kind of closer to the ping pong to golf ball size hail variety. So they did get a little bit of that. We saw plenty of that action here through the day. Another funnel cloud spotted over there in Wheeler at some point in time. This one would have been around 3:45. So with that first round as well, it continued over here into just west of Newton. That one was actually somewhat recent as well. I believe that one was just before the 7 o'clock hour where a funnel cloud was spotted. It was right around 6:58. And then, the stuff over here in Crawford County. This was the biggest storm of the day, and it didn't look good down there for a period of time. They had some damage down that direction. That was closer to 4:30. Just not a great situation down that direction. And good thing is they're avoiding what's happening out there right now. That storm is mainly in the northern half of Crawford County, so just kind of grateful that we're not seeing the same places be impacted back-to-back times. But kind of like we had been messaging here for a little while, there weren't going to be very many storms today. You can kind of look here at the area, and if we cover, I can't remember what the exact number is. If we cover roughly 35 counties, only like 3 or 4 of them actually had tornado reports in them. So a lot of us were not going to be affected by anything today, but those who were definitely felt the effects. That's why we have 4,000 power outages down there in Effingham and Jasper County. That's why we have several different tornado reports down there just south of I-70 in general. Just kind of one of those weird setups where one round depended on the next round. That first round didn't necessarily materialize to the degree we thought. So then we just get to thinking, does that open up the door for the next round a little bit more? How does that change things? It's just kind of a complicated process to follow. That's why it has to kind of sometimes be in the moment at times, the nowcasting type stuff. But able to stay on top of that and think we had the right idea on things here pretty much all throughout the day. Let's check it again on that storm. Just getting ready to mainly pass over into Coles County. Like I said, if we loop this here for a little bit, certainly hasn't gone down in intensity, but really hasn't gone up a whole lot here just from the reflectivity standpoint. You throw on lightning as well, kind of some duller lightning strikes. That means less recent. So that's kind of a good thing there. Hopefully we can kind of get this thing to a weekend and fall apart here at some point. Let's go underneath the hood and check out the velocity on this as well, because that is kind of the main thing that we're watching in case this tries to do any kind of funny business here in the night. Looks very flat, very dark colors there, and they're not exactly coordinated in any sort of way. Not seeing any kind of tight couplets or anything like that. And I'll even put that in motion here just real fast, and you can kind of see how things maybe have come down here in the last half hour or so. Saw some of those brighter colors now. They've kind of flattened out to some more of those darker colors. So just not quite the concern it was there at one point in time.
And check the Evansville radar. Maybe is a little more obvious there that there's a kind of a broad shear zone. Maybe a little more obvious than a broad shear zone when you look at the Evansville radar. If you can pull that.
Tap into the Evansville only one so we can zoom in without.
It's kind of in that region. I mean, it's
Yep, they can definitely see that.
It's just kind of weak and broad. While you're looking at that, I will say this, that NWS has just said that they are going to be sending survey teams to I-70 and south to assess tornado damage down there. So that's going to be from Effingham towards Crawford County, and we'll get some official reports from them about things. But we're hoping that the tornado threat done tonight, but I don't recall what our number is. Do we have a number from the SPC? And I think there's a few that maybe haven't slipped through. SPC has 6.
Sounds right.
There might be another 1 or 2 because I think we had 5 before this second round. So maybe we're at 7 potentially.
Sounds
6 or 7.
We'll
see what they come up with too, because they've got to assess the damage from things. But at least we're not dealing with tornado warnings right now. So
yeah, correct. And like we've been saying, the environment just not quite as supportive. Just that's kind of the thing with this. Sometimes when you have the daylight, it's easier to see stuff. When it gets real tricky is when it's here into the nighttime and you got these strong storms that aren't weakening in any sort of way. It's just so difficult to not only track those, but give, warning time well ahead of the game, because it's just, you lose half the battle. You've got radar keeping an eye on things, but half of what you kind of deliver information with comes from spotters on the ground. So if you lose that, it just makes it real difficult to see what's going on. So we're just glad that we're not dealing with any sort of nocturnal activity that is just impossible to tell what's going on. Glad that we don't have to deal with anything of that sort of nature. This stuff up here closer to I-72 looks pretty flat still in nature. That really hasn't pulsed up a whole lot. I'll even put lightning on. There is some electricity in some of these storms. So maybe,
there's a little bit.
Yeah,
I'll mention this too. If folks are online, someone's saying it hailed north of Oblong in the Robinson area, also hail south of Lerna. If you can give us a size estimate, whether it's pea size or penny size, nickel, dime size, maybe it's just sonic ice size, something to reference the size, that would be helpful here. We don't think there's anything. We really start to care about hail when it gets to penny and nickel and dime probably, but we really care when it's quarter size. That's when you start considering it as severe hail there. So let us know if you got any of those hail reports. So we would appreciate hearing about those.
Yep. The hail tracker not picking up a ton here right now, but sometimes, like we've said, that kind of lags behind a little bit. So any kind of report from what you're seeing is super helpful, just because, these radars are really good at picking up on a lot of stuff. Sometimes the hail, it's hard to capture in real time. So anything like that is certainly appreciated. Continuing to just look at some things here. There's a severe thunderstorm warning out there in Tazewell County, just northwest of the area. That one looks like it's going to largely stay away. Maybe that kind of clips part of McLean County, Livingston County at some point.
$50 hail with that one. Reported.
Hail. So that's kind of getting up there in size just a little bit. And that's kind of what we thought. Those storms up there wouldn't necessarily be overall weaker, but just kind of elevated. So that's why there's some more of that hail action up that way. Compared to down to the south, where we had a lot of those tornadic storms here for a period of time. And radar looks just kind of a little spotty here at this point in time. A lot of our main activity has left the area, but just kind of keeping an eye out for a storm like this one or any other one that might pop up there just south, almost due south of Charleston right now, kind of between Charleston and Mattoon off there to the south. So continuing to watch that. It really doesn't want to completely fall apart here, but it also doesn't have enough to keep it completely in motion or pulsing up there. So again, just kind of something to follow as it drifts off there to the north and east, maybe eventually parts of Clark and Edgar County getting in on some of that action as well. And let's also take a look. I don't think there's been any sort of worries about strong winds here in the area. However, do remember reading earlier, we do have a wind advisory set for later tonight. Let me see if I can get that graphic popped up here. So as the system kind of clears through, then you might start to see the winds pick up here pretty sharply. Here's your wind advisory. That's actually, starting at 10 p.m., I believe. So maybe see the winds ramp up pretty sharply as this low sweeps on through. We'll even check the forecast wind gusts here real quick, just because it's not been much of a factor here all day long, but it may start to kick in here before too long. So there you can see the swirling winds, the counterclockwise direction up there in the northwest part of the state. So things set to ramp up here pretty quickly, maybe 40+ mile-an-hour gusts, maybe up to 45 at times. It also says it should be gusting 30 miles an hour right now, so maybe just a little ahead of the game, maybe just a little on the stronger side than reality. But we'll see that all through the night, so be expecting some whistling winds and some cooler air to rush in at some point in time, too, with that main system sweeping on through. And I'm going to also check just across the area what our kind of temperature situation is. That kind of gives you an idea of where the air masses are moving here, kind of allows you to kind of just visualize where things are. So we're almost still at 60 degrees there in Effingham, but a lot of the rest of us down there into more of those low 50s. And we take a look at where dew points have us right now, very unseasonably high for this time of year, but we're seeing those numbers once they pop up here. And it looks like those are taking its time loading up here. Of course, we put these computers to work here tonight. We've had lots of stuff to jump through, so maybe it's crying for help here at this point in time too. So maybe the dew points are too good of a secret here, and it needs to keep it. So I'll keep working on that. Hopefully, my It says not responding now, so I'll see if I can jumpstart this thing.
You need me to throw mine on?
Yeah, might need to here. I'm not exactly sure.
I can take over for a little bit. You've been chit-chatting for a while,
Yeah.
so let me pull something
There
in
you go.
here to peek at. So again, this storm activity here, the good news is I think it's going to bring some rain. That's the good news. We certainly need that rain, and if we can avoid having too much hail, nothing stands out with this cluster in our viewing area. Again, that storm that's northwest of Delavan, south of Pekin, there was some half-dollar size hail reported. It has supercell structure characteristics. You can almost see where that hook is, where that area of rotation is, and it is rotating aloft. However, when you consider that rotation, and I'm looking for my arrow, where did that go? Pointer, here we go. When you look right here, that's the rotating updraft, right? So it spins. The difference, though, is beneath that, there's some stable air that's in place. And that stable air is keeping that rotation from reaching down to the ground. And it's a pretty hefty layer of stable air. So that storm is considered elevated, meaning it can produce hail. And they had some half-dollar size hail reported in the Sandridge State Forest area, southwest of Manitou from that. So still continuing that severe thunderstorm warning with that for quarter-size hail as it moves off to the north and to the east. That may eventually move towards Bloomington, points north towards El Paso, Pontiac, that cluster. But you can see there is additional development happening. And I just got to notice, Seth, that there's some lightning that's been detected within the Champaign-Urbana area. I bet we got our first lightning strike that might pop up there with that little cell by Seymour, unless maybe it's set to my home location. I can't remember.
It looks like there's something just out there.
Maybe it's picking up the Gibson City, Leroy stuff. But there is some lightning out there. And so we may start hearing some thunder, but these storms just don't seem like they're going to cook as much for us.
No, just kind of those.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, those popcorn variety storms. It'd be nice to hear some rumbles of thunder here in Champaign.
Thunder Rose.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
But yeah, we've largely kind of just missed out on it up here. Not that we wanted any part to do with it, but
no, and that's good. I'm okay with that. I think if we were 5, 6, or not even that, maybe 3 hours earlier, maybe today we got a little different for areas. Correct. So that delayed arrival, delayed onset could have spared wider problems north of I-70. But I think that tornado forecast verified to a T today with that risk centered around the I-70 corridor. And that's good news. And then kind of looking at the storm here, still watching it. Now south of Diona, had a few spots of hail reported in the Lerna area. Somebody just said they heard thunder in Muhammad right now.
There you go.
I mean, it's not strong, but if there's a place for a little mischief, it's this storm here in Cumberland County. And ideally, it's not far. I mean, how far is that? 40 miles? 30 miles to the state line? 35 miles? If we can get it even half that distance into Clark County, past Martinsville, it is not our problem, right? And that
Correct.
become WTWO. So that's some good news. I'm getting some folks saying they're not hearing thunder in Southwest Champaign, so I'm not crazy.
Huh.
That's maybe I am.
Not for that reason.
You're not allowed to say anything.
Not for that reason, though.
Yeah, you don't comment on that. If my wife were here, she'd be nodding her head in agreement, I think.
Yeah.
So maybe there's some folks heard some thunder with that lightning. Maybe our lightning detector didn't pick up on that, but I'm not surprised. Sometimes the lightning services, you get more than one, or the data is a little delayed, and one data senses it, the other maybe doesn't. So I don't get too much of that, but I would not be surprised. And we'll hear a lot more thunder here as we move on forth with how things are across Champaign-Urbana, up towards Gibson City, Paxton, Watsika. Probably hearing thunder in Decatur, Clinton, Bloomington, and it might be some booming thunder. If that elevated layer, that stable layer there. Oh, Madison's on TV right now. Not actually, but that's okay.
I know. I'm the one that's teaching myself how to use the key.
Oh, good. Madison Cheney is here kind of helping. Yeah, so the storms further to the north there, they are, going to bring some rain and thunder, but not a concern. That layer of air, though, that kind of elevates those storms, keeps them from becoming surface-based. Sometimes it allows the thunder to really rumble and take off. So we probably have some loud rumbles there. Still watching. It's still there, south of Charleston, north of Greenup, near Diona. It's going to be near the state park as well, down that direction. I'm just checking the interstate. I think they closed I-57 actually from Effingham South potentially.
Wow.
It might be closed there. Maybe that's something that our wonderful producer can confirm in the newsroom for the newscast, but potentially that might be the case. Effingham, here's Seth for you. Effingham has no power by the police station. They just went through the area. So some big line went down somewhere, but are those outage numbers still where they were before?
Yeah, they let me
maybe
check here right now to see what it says. But yeah, Effingham's still over 3,000, Jasper over 1,200. So yep, not much progress made as far as that goes.
Yeah, looks like Fox Ridge, Diona. It's past Janesville now, heading towards Hutton. It'll be north of Union Center, but not by much. Oh no, Union Center is probably in the line of fire. And then you got Westfield, Casey in between. There's Oilfield, the Oilfield General Store. That's where the storm's kind of moving. If we can get across 49 and get it towards, past Martinsville, then I think we'll feel better about it. And I don't feel worried about it right now.
And it's not weakened, but it's also not strengthened.
Yeah, it's just kind of
30 minutes. Just kind of sat there.
So, we didn't have a severe thunderstorm warning, but there's enough of that shear in the atmosphere where you just got to watch out. And you look at these storms a little further to the south. That storm now has departed Illinois from the Robinson area. That's good news. And then down here, maybe a little more rotation showing up northeast of Vincennes on that southern tail storm. Let me bring the radar up and peek at that here. There you go. So, I mean, they're not the most impressive looking things. That's probably the strongest looking storm. But I don't think we have any tornado warnings anywhere right now. Just severe thunderstorm warning for Crawford County that's about to drop. And then still up there south of Peoria. So what do you say, Seth, here maybe in a few minutes?
Yeah.
Do we give it a mute?
Yeah, give it another couple minutes.
Check back in 5 minutes. And
yeah, honestly, it might just not be a bad idea. Just kind of put things on mute. Just stare at this thing. And it's not like we're going anywhere. We're just going to kind of hang out.
Yeah. Actually, we're gonna go out and shoot dirty looks at it and try and make it stop, right? Like, don't do that.
The audacity of you to still be out here.
It's like having a bratty kid in the line, right? You just shoot it a look and you're like, stop that.
Quit it right now. Slap on the wrist.
Right. All right, so you'll see us mute this here for a little bit. It is 7:57. Why don't we say 8:10? Can we do 8:10? We'll do a check-in.
Sure. Works for me.
And I'll put that on here and do a little update. So we'll be back at 8:10 with updates. And we'll see you shortly. All right, folks, 8:10 and now 8:11. Sorry, a minute late. We are going to wrap up our coverage here on digital. Still have some of you on. We appreciate you following here, but our severe weather threat continues to diminish. Looks like we get our first wind report, actually, of the day, Seth. So that'd be something like, I think it's going to be this traffic on the interstate, the crashes that happened over there from wind. And then a handful of tornado reports, handful of hail reports as well. But that seems to be the deal. You see this hail up here, Peoria, that's from tonight. But then there's this, Rantoul, Rossville, places like that had some small hail from some early morning storms that carried off to the north and to the east. But kind of the tornado sweet spot here. We know those were producing tornadoes into Indiana. There's a stretch where from Sullivan to Bloomington, Indiana, more tornado reports will get filled in there. But looks like a plethora of those down there. And one last check of radar here. We feel comfortable to sign off for the night here. This storm, it's still impressive there. North of KZ, some electricity between KZ and Kansas. Paris will get some thunder and lightning, but nothing immediately concerning at this point. And let me switch to my regular radar real quick. We don't have any warnings in our area either, which is good news. Still have the tornado watch that continues until 10.
Yep.
Maybe if we're lucky, that gets dropped. Got some storm activity picking up here. Clinton, Gibson City, Bloomington, Pontiac, noisy thunder there. Mahomet getting a little thunder shower. Throw on the lightning. There's some rumbles here and there, but that doesn't seem to be too problematic. We'll do one last check at radar. That's now Clark County. It's still a supercell. This is if that's something tried to give us one last hurrah, this would be the storm to do it. And there's a little bit in there, but it's not overly organized. And that's in the Evansville radar. That's the Lincoln radar. So it's enough to maybe keep a small hail threat moving forth, but I think we're winding down. I'll do one last check here of storm relative just to see if it looks any different, kind of highlights any features. Not much. Kind of switching between the two, so that is some good news. Thanks for following. Thanks for trusting us here at WCIA. We appreciate you following us, and we're always here for extended digital coverage. We'll give one last tip of the cap to Kevin in the storm tracker. Did we figure out, was he coming up 45? Oh, hey, Kevin, there he is. Giving us, he can hear us still. Shoot, I'm glad we haven't been talking about him. Yeah. And yeah, he's pointing at us. Don't unmute him. We're not going to let him. Do you want to say something, Kevin? You want to say something nice to us? No, maybe. I don't even think I can hear you at this point. But thumbs up, thumbs down. Oh, he's turning. Well, it's probably me, to be totally honest. Okay, he wants to talk. Yeah, let's turn Kevin's mic on. Just give him a chance to say one nice thing. Kevin, I got to try and guess where you are based on your shot. Are you south of Tolono? There he is. Okay, he's close. There you go. Any last thoughts about today? Nice little lackadaisical drive back.
Well, yeah. An interesting day. This was a really interesting setup here with kind of watching the same areas get hit over and over. The front, the boundary kind of stayed in the same area for much of the day, and it didn't get moved from one storm complex to the next. And so it's kind of interesting how that boundary kind of stayed where it was and just kind of kept where the best ingredients were where they were. But as you said, I think that the forecast verified in terms of the placement of where we thought these storms were going to be tornadic. And we always kind of said that I-70 corridor, and that definitely happened. So, yeah, I think it's just so fortunate once again that, we had, so many counties and some cities that were under warnings, like, multiple 3 times for tornadoes with decent signatures on them. And none of them actually touched down right in our area. So that's, great for us. Now, I've been seeing some of those pictures out of Flat Rock, Illinois of the tornado there. Man, that thing was, that thing did look good on radar. And there are some pictures of it that pretty good little sized tornado over there. But we were on the storms today. I mean, that's kind of the goal when we get out in the storm tracker, is at least be in position to be on the storm that in our area that is, quote, of the day. And we had a couple different times for that. So yeah, I think just fortunate that we don't have too many people picking up the pieces and the damage, but a good little test run for the upcoming spring season for everybody. But yeah, this kind of turned into a long duration event because we had the few different rounds that we were watching over the past like 6 to 7 hours. So glad to be done with it. Call it a day, and hooty hoo.
Because we think the severe weather threat is low or there, but we'll be here just in case. And that storm there has moved into Clark County. We'll pass that off to WTW. That was the one thing we were a little worried about. Looks like a little activity trying to fire up there southwest of Altamont. I'm not too worried about that. I think the better shear is sneaking on through. So that is what we have. So we'll sign off tonight. We hope you'll join Seth for WCIA 3 News at 10. And also, we will catch you tomorrow. Again, looks like 6 tornadoes in our viewing area today from the National Weather Service. Most of them brief, nothing as substantial as maybe the Crawford County area. At least 2 possible in Effingham County. There may be more. They're going to be surveying there and providing updates with numbers as we go through tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. Fast start. This winter has been active. If we add 6 tornadoes and we consider the 10 tornadoes from December 28th, that's been a lot of tornadoes this winter season, and perhaps this trend will continue as we get closer and into the month of March. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Thanks for trusting us, and we'll see you